This week in news, Ben Affleck isn't directing the Batman. And also, we're going to be talking about that right now.
Okay, Ralph Garman.
I can't believe it, and I'm also very happy that it's true. Because I've like read a couple things on Twitter, but the big one was from Kevin Smith because everyone was like, "Hey, direct this fucking thing, Fat Man."
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched Fat Man on Batman when he was talking about this with Mark Bernardin. I keep on trying to say Bernardine, like he's French or something. And it was great, and it's like really timely to you because as of yesterday, they celebrated the 10th anniversary of Smodcast. So that's
wow,
really cool.
yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Holy
it's
crap.
been a decade of Smodcast.
Dear God. Yeah.
And so, like, he was talking about that. He's
Does
like,
he still
yeah.
talk to Scott Mosier on that?
Yeah.
It's like, where has Scott Mosier been? Because he hasn't been producing.
So that's what he did. He teased a couple of things. One, Scott Mosier is busy producing something. And two, he's going to have some movie news in the coming week or so. So maybe Kevin Smith's going to be directing something. Clerks 3.
Come on,
Hit Somebody. Fucking something. Dogma 2. Mallbrats, like something, anything, okay? But in their episode, they were talking about a lot of stuff, and they were mentioning why this happened, why the Batfleck is no longer behind the camera, and they also gave out a lot of their directors. So I'm kind of biased, but yeah, like I said, I'm happy this isn't the case because he already helped write the thing. I'm sure he's producing it in some capacity.
Oh yeah,
he's starring in it. He has to do all of the health regimen and workout, plus the press tour and everything.
And
as
also,
an actor.
maybe if you want to be a cynic and just say, well, Live by Night was not that good, and it tanked, and
maybe.
then Warner's having reservations. It's perfect timing to say that, but no.
I didn't hear anyone say that movie was bad.
I heard nothing but people saying that movie is bad, or that it's just very cheesy and formulaic, but
I heard formulaic.
Yeah,
it
one's
wasn't
telling me
like
it's good.
It wasn't a big headline item, though. It wasn't like, oh my god, did you see the fucking numbers on this thing? It tanked. No. It was the opposite of Split. Split's like, oh my god, 3 weekends in a row, and Mike Shyamalan he beat the
He's
Rings
back, essentially.
reboot. He's back.
Like,
he's,
The Visit
he's working
is
on
like,
the sequel.
oh man,
So, that's the opposite of what happened to Live by Night. Like, it wasn't anywhere. It just, like, it came out, people forgot about it, it's gone, it didn't get nominated for anything, whatever. And you also got to remember that he's already in bed with Fox, and he's going to be directing their Witness for the Prosecution.
Yeah.
So he's working on that, undoubtedly. He just was probably feeling just overwhelmed. He wrapped Justice League not too long ago. He's about to be filming that sequel. Who knows what other
the excuse makes
superhero
sense
movies
too,
in for
though,
DC.
To be like, the titular superhero to direct that movie, and it's like, well,
no one's done that before.
It's like, what if John Favreau can play Happy, an Iron Man easily because that's a side character, but to be the lead, that's a lot to take on, I'm sure, for a big budget movie. Actually,
not even just a lead, but Batman.
Yeah, you have to take on a lot there, really. The
biggest superhero on the planet, definitely in terms of movies and just media, period. And no, I can't. I'm happy. Like, just the stress that was going to be involved.
And maybe Zack Snyder should direct it, though, don't you think?
The internet is petitioning for that.
I find that hilarious. That. Like,
yeah, they hated him so much for Batman vs Superman, and now they're like, hey, why don't you make this one though? And I would love for him to make this Batman movie.
I'd be cool with it, but at the same time, I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, like, as controversial as it might be, I would rather see Zack Snyder do some like Sucker Punch again. Like, I mean, because that ended up being very divisive, but I still find that movie fascinating at the very least. Like. It's like with Michael Bay and Transformers. I'm just kind of like, dude, like, don't be in this world for too long. Try doing something different, or if not Sucker Punch, make your own chef like Jon Favreau did. At this point, it's like, try something.
It's funny because in that Fat Man on Batman episode, they talked about one really great thing, and then they also threw out some of their directors. They were like, Lexi Alexander, she'd be awesome. George Miller,
yes.
Tim Miller, like everyone that they were listing off is like, yes, especially George Miller, like more so than Lexi Alexander.
No, but I mean, Lexi Alexander, like, no, she's a kickboxer, right?
No, yeah, no.
Could you imagine her choreography on the fight scenes? Like,
that's exactly what
based on the Batman we already got in Batman v Superman,
or better yet, Punisher Warzone. But
would
yeah,
be
no,
awesome.
She's already worked with DC. She's directed a couple episodes of Supergirl. I think she's also maybe done Arrow. So like she's in bed with the CW and DC. So they know who she is. And they're like, oh my god, like, a female director directing Batman. I'd rather have George Miller. or Tim Miller. Or someone that has directed a tentpole that was successful, like Punisher Warzone. Not a bad movie, real interesting, real kind of fun.
It's
but
really cheesy and fun, but it's it's Punisher Warzone. Like
yeah, it's not
Batman.
Batman.
That's a Saturday night. I'm gonna get drunk with my buddies with a 6-pack of beer and just make jokes during it. I forgot the villain's name, but like that accent was so cheesy.
It's like
and
Jigsaw or something. I want to
yeah,
say it was.
and like just that scene where he's like in front of the American flag, and well, that movie's fucking weird.
It's a weird,
but it's
movie.
fun.
The better thing they talk about during that episode, though, is Mark Bernardin brought up this idea. He's like, fuck Star Wars. If they can get one of those every year, we can easily get one Batman movie every year. And he's like, this will solve everything. You're never going to have this kind of problem where there's too much anticipation buildup. Because he's like, the reason Ben Affleck probably stepped down after the kind of backlash Batman vs. Superman got, he knows that he can't. The whole internet wants this to be better than The Dark Knight, this new one.
I don't expect that to happen. Like
exactly.
That's dangerous to set that bar.
They were like, Ben Affleck's probably thinking, either I beat The Dark Knight, or what I make ends up being shit because it's worse than The Dark Knight. There's the over-under. It's either better than, or it's obviously worse. And it's like, they were like, what's the upside? What's the uptake? What's the reason? But yeah, I agree. Why isn't there a fucking Batman movie every year? We have Lego Batman this week actually, and then we have, Justice League later this year. So technically we have 2 this year. We had 1 last year. Suicide Squad was last year too, so we had 2 last year too. But there's not going to be 2 next year. There probably won't even be 1. It would be very easy, and this was his take, and I love it. You don't have to make a $150 million Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is a detective. You can easily make a $20 million Batman movie. Just make a really good mystery. If it's $20 million, you can make it rated R. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't they fucking do that? Like,
that is fair. Like, and get some unknown talent in there, experiment a little bit. There's a lot more freedom there. You don't have to make something big and bloated. I mean, that might sound like a good idea to you, but it's like, hey, I love Star Wars, like the movies. I'm not like a massive Star Wars fanboy or anything, but that affected my youth in some way. Like, I was definitely playing around with lightsabers and all that shit. Like, the first Star Wars is one of my favorite movies of all time. But we're getting one of those every year. Fuck, even then, I did not even see this latest one because I'm just like, I don't want to get burnt out on that. So, like, for me to hear, like, that a Bat movie could conceivably come out every year, it's like, well, yeah, I guess. I just don't know if that's good.
The difference is Star Wars up
you
until
get
recently,
too much of
when
something, then it's like
no. Disney has recently started pimping out Star Wars. Okay, between their animated shit and whatever they do on Disney Channel, and their Star Wars and Star Tours and theme park stuff, and it's like the logical ascension is one every year. And before that, it was like one every 3 years, every couple of decades, right? Batman is in like 10 comic books every week. He's in Detective Comics. He's in Batman. He's in All-Star Batman. He's in Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah,
he's
but
in
those
Justice
are different
League.
mediums, though.
No,
like,
no. This is what I'm saying. He is an entity, always and forever. He has TV shows. He has movies. He has soundtracks. He has live stage productions. Obviously, the comic books. He has the cartoons made from the comic books. He has the direct-to-DVD stuff. Justice League Dark, that just came out. He's in that. Like, he is everywhere across the DC universe. It's not like, this is the Batman story. No. He's literally everywhere.
Yeah, but when it comes to movies, I think there is such a thing as overkill, where if you put out too many of them, then you're not, how many Dark Knights are you going to get? You're probably...
You don't need Dark Knights.
You don't need this then you're catering to like a very specific audience at that point. You're not really...
No.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith said it perfectly. He's like, a lot of people might not like The Dark Knight Rises, but I wouldn't mind one of those every year, and I wouldn't either. Like, I love Batman enough. I'm seeing Lego Batman this weekend. If they put a movie out, I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna buy it. Period. So instead of making me wait like every 3 to 5 years for a standalone movie, just do it every fucking year.
See, even if I got a Bond movie every year, I'd be burnt out at some point, and then there would be years where I would just be like, you know what, I just don't feel like seeing one this year. I'll catch it next year.
No one has ever fucking read a James Bond book. It doesn't happen. No one reads that shit. So
Except
James
for
Bond
the people that
is
read
this
Ian Fleming's books when they came out.
Whatever. James Bond since they've been adapted is that just like the Star Wars thing. It's like it doesn't exactly exist anywhere else. It's just on the big screen. It's always an event. Batman doesn't have to be an event. It could just be, it's a Batman movie, guys. It just came out. Did you see the last one? Nah, it was like 6 months ago. Fuck it. So yeah, no, I buy that for $1. I want to see this happen.
I know you're a huge fan and you would love it, but me, I would just kind of be like, no, there is such a thing as overkill at a certain point.
This wouldn't be overkill. This would be getting its due. Like,
overkill's a word I'm going to use so much this
Marvel
week, I got a feeling.
can put out like a comic book movie for a hero you've never heard of every year, then DC can make a Batman movie.
Yeah, but see,
year.
like when Marvel does that, that's something new that people don't know about. That's exposure to something different. If you're going to get a bunch of the same,
take on Batman. No, I could throw you 5 different Bat books that are completely different from one another. Like,
yeah, but they would all still be Batman.
No,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so like there is so much creative control when it comes to Batman. You adhere to a couple things. It's like he doesn't kill people. He's a vigilante, and by day he's a playboy billionaire. That's all you need. If you get those, like, you can do anything. There's like Batman stories where he falls in love and he's getting married. There's stuff where he's not even the hero. There's so much fucking stuff. Like, I talk about it for literally an hour. Instead, we're gonna do the news. If you just joined us, this is 2 cents. It's episode, what is it, fucking 82. We're coming at you February 6, 2017. This is usually recorded Sunday night for your Monday listening pleasures. Instead, this is Monday afternoon and for your Tuesday listening pleasure. Monday late night. If you're angry about that, I'm sorry. Some other stuff that happened this week. Very sad. Our name is 2 cents. This is the Live Undoctored news show that we do here at Dollar Reviews. I already said it earlier. I'd buy that for $1. You know, we cover tech, TV, movies, streaming, video games, and VR. And we're here because of RoboCop. That's the namesake for the show. And this week, we sadly had a passing for one of the RoboCop cast members, Miguel Ferrer, who turns out to be George Clooney's cousin. I did not know that. He's the guy who actually creates the RoboCop project at OCP. He's also in other things that you might have seen. Blank Check, most notably. He was, like, I think on NCIS, maybe it was. He's just a character actor that you didn't really know, but he's the really funny guy who gets killed by the Ed 2. No, who gets blown up or Brewbreaker.
Yeah,
and he's doing coke with.
Didn't he die 2 weeks ago though?
That was a week ago.
I thought it was like in mid-January.
It was Monday.
On Monday he died?
Yeah, I think it was
like
right
last week. Yeah,
it was like right after we recorded, or right before, or maybe I did leave it out. But anyway,
I swear, I thought he died like 2 weeks ago, Yeah, the 19th. That's 2 weeks old.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that January 19th.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's why I was hearing that. I was just like, holy crap, has this week been so long and awful already?
We didn't talk about it on the show, and I wanted to mention it because.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, it fits. But
it fits.
Yeah, you were scaring me for a second because I was just like, oh my god, has this been such a shitty week? Has so much been going on that it's been this slow? Like, scaring me for a second there, Brian.
The week was actually not slow. Probably one of the sadder things that happened here,
quick tidbit, though. You want to know what tomorrow is?
Huh?
Tomorrow's his birthday.
Oh, that sucks.
February 7th, so, yeah.
Happy birthday, Miguel.
Yeah, he would have been, damn it, 62 years old.
Rest in pieces. Something sad, too, another death that's happening this month,
Happening
IMDb,
or happened?
Happening.
Yeah.
IMDb is shutting down its message boards on the 20th for some fucking reason. I kind of get it.
What?
I mean, there's not many people that use them. The message board days have kind of died. I mean, people are more in tune with Facebook and Twitter.
Or just Reddit.
Or Reddit, exactly.
That's what that is, but
I remember when I discovered IMDb, what was that, like 2005?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, like, yeah, I went there to look up movies, learn about them, read the trivia, but also go on the message boards, like, just to see what people were talking about, their opinions. Like, if you're getting rid of message boards, they're also eliminating private messages. Why not eliminate the list features that are there, too? Because those fucking suck. Like, just move all that to Amazon, I guess. Make it.
Why not just ditch IMDb to be, just period.
Amazon movies?
Yeah.
They're probably going to do that at some point. I mean, the IMDb name isn't that strong.
Well, why? No, it's everywhere. Like, they own Box Office Mojo. They're owned by Amazon. Like, I see the brand everywhere, usually. Like, it's always tied into something. You Google a movie's name, and, like, there's a link to the Wiki page, the Rotten Tomatoes page, the IMDb page. Like, it's still pretty big, like, if you're just looking up movies on the internet in general. So, really, why?
It's more an industry thing, to be honest, though, especially with IMDb Pro, and we brought them up on the show a good amount of times too. But I just thought it was like something funny.
That's weird, really.
Yeah, I was trying to do a different take on the opening of the show, and it kind of flubbed, but whatever. If you don't know who we are, I'm Brian Gillis. You can follow me on Twitter, whatever. Also, emails, brian@dollarviews.net. Dollarviews.net is where all of our shit is, too, all of our reviews. We just updated like our About Us page, because Steve wanted to change what's there.
Just my section, yeah.
Just his section.
Are you going to update yours?
I don't know. The person I'm talking to...
I thought it was time, because we did that, 2 years ago now?
Not that long ago. The website's only about a year old. No, it's a little bit over a year. It's probably like 55 weeks old, 54 weeks old. No, that's how old the domain name is.
Probably back in 2015 that it happened. But
no, yeah, the domain name is about that old. The website's a little bit older. I'd say a year and a half. But yeah, you're listening to another voice, not just mine, and that's Stephen Mominex.
Hello.
The funny thing that happened this week, Fandango Now announced its first original series. If you don't know what Fandango Now is, I mean, I know Steve does, but the listener, it's Fandango's web streaming service. So you can rent movies, buy movies, whatever. And now they're getting original content, the first of which is called Extreme Home Theaters, and it's going to be like 2 to 3 minute episodes. It's basically MTV Cribs for the streaming age. I'm actually interested in this. I'd love to see like the biggest and best home theaters on the planet. Like, show me someone that has like a 4K laser projector in their house with Dolby Atmos and like reclining seats and a popcorn maker on every armrest. Like, I want to see that.
While you watch it on your phone. Like, isn't that the ultimate fuck you? Is just that you stream some on your phone for 2 to 3 minutes, and it's just like, hey, look at this shit that you don't have. Like,
it's like streaming is so sad. It's like, I did this thing this week. I was going to talk about it during Penny Thoughts, but I'll just throw it in there now. I did it last night, actually. PlayStation Now, it's Sony's like cloud streaming video game service. Basically, it's like named the Netflix of gaming. There's other competitors out there, but it's like the only one that still exists on the forefront, and it's not bad. Like, I did the trial. My internet's not great to begin with, but I was able pretty nicely to stream a video game with very little buffering issues. Like, I had some input control problems, but the fact that I was able to stream a PlayStation 3 game on my Vita was really cool. Because this isn't Netflix. Nice. It's not like pressing play and watching it. No, like,
it uses way more, needs a higher bit rate and all that.
Not even just that. You're doing commands, and it's sending it through the internet to a system that's reading them, and then it's doing the stuff and sending you back what's happening in almost real time. Like, if I wasn't playing on Wi-Fi, if I had an Ethernet cable, it probably would have been flawless. And so I was just trying it. I've like had access to the service. It's been out there forever. You can do this on your PS3, your PS4, your PlayStation Vita. You can do it on a PC, certain Sony TVs, certain LG TVs, Sony Blu-ray players. All you need is a controller. You can get a free trial for 7 days, and then it's like $20 a month. And every once in a while, they have like $100 for the year. For $20 a month, if you don't have a PS3 and you want to play games like the entire God of War franchise, Uncharted 1 through 3, The Last of Us, like some premier Sony-only titles, Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper, like, there's over 100 games on the subscription. For $20 a month, it's actually a really good deal because one of those games by themselves is $20. So if you have good internet and you've never done this before, I highly recommend checking it out. And the reason I brought it up is because we're talking streaming, and there's this funny news item. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't even watch the commercials. I had no interest. I was at work.
Yeah, it
whatever.
Sucked, to be honest.
Like, I didn't watch this entire football season. I'm a Raiders fan, and especially after their season ended, I really didn't give a fuck. But yeah, the reason
it's just to point out, it was just another Super Bowl where the Patriots win at the last minute, just by the inches. Like, well, by the inches, or like, before it's been by a field goal, but it's like, it's just not exciting to see the same thing happen every time,
Here's what is exciting, though. There's a lot of hype building up into this. Fox got the rights from CBS. That usually doesn't happen. And so, like, they were streaming it for free. Super cool. It's like Super Bowl 51 is streaming for free. You don't even need any Fox service.
Yeah.
Less than 2% of the audience tuned in via streaming. And that's a good thing. And it
crashed at one point, by the way.
Yeah. It's a really good thing, because right at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of regulation, before the first overtime in Super Bowl history happened, it was totally down. So that's not too bad. 2% of like 115 million
Yeah.
That's
It
not.
came back up though.
Yeah, that's and you're watching for free over there.
Yeah.
You know, like what do you expect?
Yeah,
So
no, it was like it's fine. The Spanish one kept going live, so I was
really,
using that for a period of time. Yeah.
huh? So were you watching it for the commercials, or you're just watching the game?
Well,
Or?
I don't know if they're airing the same commercials. Like, was it the exact same thing the whole time? Because there actually
Probably.
weren't that many commercial spots, or at least I just didn't feel like there were that many breaks. But yeah, I was just watching the game. You know, it was Sunday. I had nothing else to do. I was waiting on you, and then you were like, "Hey, can I bow out?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, all right." This
Yeah.
game kind of sucked. I should just go to bed.
I heard it was good. I mean, I like
It was good
like
at a certain point, but then
like
I
a
was just
24-point turnaround and then a OT
honestly,
at the last minute.
I know people were anti-patriots just because, like, and these are people that are making it political about Trump and everything. But
Fuck
I mean,
that. They're just a villain in the NFL.
yeah, I know. Although I
They
gotta say,
cheated last
Tom
year.
Brady was kicking ass. But I mean, yeah,
They
it's like,
cheated last year.
it gets boring
Don't forget
watching
that.
the Patriots win all the time. Honestly,
They literally cheated. They won off of a cheat, and they didn't even really get a slap on the wrist.
you know, like it was boring to me because it's like you're just seeing the Patriots win again, and it wasn't that exciting at the end of the day. I don't know.
It's like maybe I'll watch.
It's a bummer. I would love to see them lose at some point.
Maybe they've lost before. Maybe I'll watch the commercials on YouTube. I usually do like a day or two after the
Yeah, the
bowl.
Super Bowl spots were not that big either.
Well,
I don't know if I'm
there's-
just getting old, but I just wasn't excited about any of the ones for the movies either.
There's a couple. Well, I don't care about the movies necessarily. The one that I really want to see is the NASCAR one with James Vanderbeek, and that's because what's his
Is
name
that the
directed
Coen
that?
Brothers one?
No,
There's
that's-
one that they did that I missed that I heard was actually pretty good, but
No, what's his name that directed Detention did that one?
Joseph Kahn.
Yeah, Joseph Kahn. So it's a NASCAR like Daytona 500 commercial that stars James Vanderbeek. So I need to see that one. I'm sure it's like a 30-second spot. I'm curious.
They're
to see
working
what
real
that
well
is.
together, especially after the Power Rangers
Yeah.
short.
So I can't wait to see Bodied. What I'll probably do is I'll hold off on Detention until Bodied comes out and tie that in so I can watch both of them at like the same time. Because
You
I've
could
seen
make
Torque.
Detention a debt to cinema because that's a weird but fun movie.
Yeah, because I've seen
Yeah.
Torque. Okay, so
Torque is awesome.
if you're listening, Con, I've seen your movie.
A lot of people have seen Torque. A lot of people
A
like
lot of
Torque,
people
too.
have
Yeah.
not seen Torque. A
Not
lot
in
of people do
theaters, no,
not
but like
love it.
it's kind of got a following now because a lot of people have watched that and just kind of enjoyed it for what it is.
It's like Torque and Biker Boys, like same movie. It's over the.
Are they both produced by Neil Moritz? Because I know
I don't know. Like,
Torque. Yeah, like that's
I want to say Biker Boys is a
I wanna
Fast and
watch Torque
Furious
again now,
spin-off, even though it has like no ties at all. It was
Yeah,
just
but-
like let's make Fast and Furious, but make it a black cast and make it motorcycles, and then Torque is like
Torque is like here's the producer
here's
of Fast
a
and the Furious,
super
make it a-
over the fucking top. Look at me, I can do anything with a motor. Like I remember this. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he like
There's a bike
drive
foo
on
sequence
top?
in there.
Doesn't he drive like on top of a bus or something? Like
Yeah, something
or like
like
a
that.
train.
Yeah.
like something just outlandish.
You're
Oh my
skating
God.
around the bike foo sequence, which is the reason to watch that movie.
So at the top of the show, we were talking about Ben Affleck leaving
Uh-huh.
Batman, which could possibly not be finalized. Maybe in a couple of weeks he decides, nah, actually I will do it. Like they cut him a deal. They're like, look, even if it fucking sucks, you can direct the sequel. How about that? And he's like, okay, sure. Another movie lost a director this week, a much smaller one that's less important, but still big news. Antoine Fuqua, who just came off Magnificent Seven, he is no longer doing the Scarface reboot or remake or whatever the fuck you want to call it for Universal. The reason is that Equalizer 2 is filming soon, and he has
Is he
commitments to
actually
that.
directing that now?
Yeah,
Because he was not confirmed to do it. And now
he is. Yeah, the reason
Yeah.
for him backing out of the Scarface is because Equalizer 2. I mean, Denzel just won the SAG Award, so I guess they are pushing forward with that. It's like, hey,
I don't know if
let's
that's
get
an
him
even
a...
worse trade-off, honestly. But
I don't know.
then
I
again,
mean,
I don't know. Like nothing against the Scarface remake, but it's like I feel like for this one, it
Hey.
would be leaning too heavily on the De Palma version rather than
Here's
being a
something-
remake, which is what that Scarface was supposed to be.
here's an exciting piece of information, though. They lost a director. They got a star. Tony Montana is going to be Diego Luna. So I like that casting.
Just don't try to be
A
Al
lot.
Pacino. Just don't.
He
Don't
wouldn't try to be Al
mimic him.
Pacino. For one thing, he's actually, Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
So switch it from Cuba to Mexico. Throw in a Trump story about the wall. Maybe he got here right before it got built. It doesn't fucking matter. Make something funny. Like, make something good. Make something that works in today's standards. Relocate it from Miami to L.A. It'd be good.
Maybe,
Diego Luna.
yeah. Just don't copy the De Palma movie because, like, that's that movie does not copy the Howard Hawks one. It's just like I feel like I don't know. It seems like that's such an iconic movie, the De Palma one, that's my worry. Is just it would lean too heavily on that. But the Magnificent Seven remake, it wasn't echoing the original one way too much, or the original remake or whatever, and that itself is a remake. It was kind of doing its own thing, even though it ended up being a bit generic, but. Equalizer 2, I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of bummed that that's actually happening.
I didn't watch the first one.
The first one's fun, but I
know
kind of
what
forgot
it
it already.
is.
Yeah.
Just,
It's just Denzel being a badass, which is fun to watch.
Like,
but
I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. Like, yeah, Training Day's awesome. Like,
Man
I
on
love
Fire, everything Tony Scott.
I don't really remember Man on Fire. I know I saw it, but like it's like him and Dakota Fanning, and he's like her security guard.
The
and he'll
first
do
hour
anything
of that
for
is
her.
like Tony Scott's best movie, and then like it's still as awesome as it keeps going, but
It's like the more Denzel I saw, the less I liked him. Like I don't know, like especially when it comes to we just did an episode on time travel. You can listen to our Time Crimes episode.
Deja Vu.
Yeah, Deja Vu is a piece of
Yeah.
shit. Like when I saw that,
I like that movie.
No.
I mean, it's by no means a great movie, but I had fun with it. It's one of the weaker Tony Scott movies, but like the way that it plays with that idea of time travel, I thought it was a lot of fun.
my time machine's a fucking box, and I'm gonna climb inside of it. But no,
Yeah, but
like
I mean that and just like looking into a window in the past, like I thought that was really cool.
Was that movie Two Guns with Mark Wahlberg? Like
That one's okay.
There's so many recent Denzel movies that I've just skipped over.
If
like
he
since
does something
Flight,
with Tony
basically.
Scott, then I probably have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not making any more
Yeah.
movies to the best
Crimson
of my knowledge.
Tide, that movie's fucking awesome.
So, director leaving. Here's one that's going. There was a rumor that this was going to happen. It is true now. Denis Villeneuve is going to be directing the Dune reboot.
Yay, he's embracing franchises. It seems.
Well, no shit. I mean,
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2040.
Yep.
This
So much for original stuff now.
technically Sicario is a franchise, even though he's not involved
created it,
on the
yeah.
second one. I wouldn't be surprised if like fucking Arrival got a sequel if it wins some Oscars. But yeah, good for him. I might not be his biggest fan as much as I love Prisoners, because that
his
out
stuff
of what
is
I've
interesting,
seen,
though.
out of what I've seen, that is his best movie. That
I think it might be Arrival, honestly. Like
Arrival's really good, but no, Prisoners
really pissed me off in some ways. Like when I saw that movie, it's
Prisoners
really
is fucking tense, man.
It is in some moments, and then it kind of kills that momentum by being pretty fucking stupid in a few moments.
Care. I really liked Prisoners. It was riveting.
I really
Arrival,
should,
I was like, this is really pretty. The music is good. I understand the reason the editing is happening the way it is, but
I'll be honest though. For me, I think Arrival is it's a genre that I think I end up being more fascinated by, maybe just a little bit more.
It was a real pretty movie. All of his movies are pretty. It just, I don't think I'll ever watch it again. It was like a one and done for me.
I'm more likely to see Contact or Close Encounters again than I am with Arrival. But Arrival's really good.
Yeah, Close Encounters
it's
too.
really well made.
I still haven't seen Contact, but Close Encounters.
Oh, Contact is so good.
Yeah, I've seen segments. It's just like Close Encounters. It's like I've seen it once. I get it. It's only worth watching for the score. Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know.
It's like the mashed potatoes in the living room with the blinding light that gives you sunburns. Like,
yeah, I really love that movie, but I still really want to see that movie in a theater. Like, that's something I really would love to see in the Dome if I got the chance.
I don't like any of Steven Spielberg's Alien stuff. That E.T.
Not even E.T.?
Indiana Jones 4, and especially not War of the Worlds. Like, I don't like his extraterrestrial things. I like his humane stories.
So you
grounded.
don't like E.T.? Is that really what I heard?
I haven't seen E.T. since I was a kid.
But did you at least like it as a kid?
I kind of liked it. I liked it enough that I went to
loved
Universal
it as a kid.
Studios and I rode the E.T. ride before they tore it down for the second time. So, I got that memory. I didn't not like it. And I know, when I get older, I'll probably rewatch Steven Spielberg's filmography, especially because I haven't seen all of this stuff. And maybe I'll be a little nicer, but I like The Terminal. I like Catch Me If You Can, Schindler's List, fucking...
well, two of those movies are good.
Yeah, Terminal is the good one.
Terminal sucks, man.
Terminal
has a
good.
great opening, a
Diego
pretty
Luna's
good
in
hour,
Terminal.
and then becomes so stupid as it goes.
That movie is amazing. I love it. and that has
I've
nothing
been
to
wanting to
do.
rewatch Lincoln lately, just because. I'm just really curious to check that out. Like that and Always Always
I haven't
for
seen
a
Always.
certain reason. But
Uh,
we'll
I-
talk about a guy named Joe when we get to that.
The Terminal, my love for it has nothing to do with the fact that he was in pre-production on that when he was a Cal State Long Beach student. That's just a fun factoid.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, but
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
it's,
like, that's
it's
just
like,
something fun to
it's his
note
Frank
about it.
Capra movie, which is really
Yes.
cool. But then it becomes so stupid, like near the
No.
last half hour, and so
all
preposterous
the
that
all
it
the
totally
fucking
just
time,
kills it.
all the
And it
time,
loses that
I think
charm.
of Tom Hanks making his ketchup and mustard saltine sandwiches. I think about that moment all the time for some reason. That and
someone
like
has to.
just Stanley Tucci's character. Catherine Zeta-Jones
yeah.
in that. Like, everyone is good in that movie. Diego Luna and Zoe Saldana, like, their relationship in that. All, like, the little,
It
like,
just
character
becomes
actors.
way too hokey though as it keeps
So I don't
going, and
get
it,
like every Steven Spielberg movie.
No, no,
well,
no,
not
no,
every,
no,
but
no, no,
most
no.
of his
Like,
movies get
there's happy
hokey.
endings, but that one specifically, oh my god, like it just it totally went beyond the realm of plausibility, even for something that felt like a Frank Capra movie that is,
I don't give a
is
shit,
about to have
okay?
a melodramatic and happy ending. That
Tom
one felt
Hanks is
so
awesome
false
in
to
it.
me.
I
The
love
one where
it.
the fucking janitor goes out and stands in front of the fucking airplane on the railway. My
I don't even
God.
remember that. Okay, I
Well,
just remember
was
that
the
I really
moment
liked
I gave
it.
the movie the middle finger.
I remember it. I really, really liked it. Okay, like
Well, you should
Bridge of
watch it again
Spies.
and tell me that. Yeah.
Bridge of Spies
is
might
great.
be a really fucking good movie,
It was in our top tens.
but I'd rather watch The Terminal any day. Hands down. Tom Hanks, better in Bridge of Spies.
Well, thank you for
Better
much
to
for
watch
saying that.
in
Yeah.
The Terminal. More
Yeah.
interesting character. Just laugh a minute.
You haven't
It's-
seen
it's-
Always, have you?
No.
We might have to at some point.
I know that's not Tom Hanks though, right?
No,
Isn't
that's
that Richard
Richard
Dreyfuss?
Dreyfuss and
Yeah.
John Goodman and Holly Hunter and Aubrey Hepburn's in there, I think. Yeah, that's her last movie.
Jumping back to the news though, Dune's gonna reboot.
Yep.
I think we're gonna have to watch.
The original David Lynch one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see
Yeah.
the David Lynch movie sometime soon. Maybe.
We'll get to it. Maybe when this comes out.
Yeah, because maybe before that, because this Blade Runner isn't for. Is that's next year, right?
That's this year.
It is this year.
Yeah, October.
Fuck. So yeah, maybe Dune is 2018.
Yeah.
No, he just signed on. That means they
I
have
don't
a
know.
script.
He's been pretty good about like.
It's
Sicario
legendary.
was 2015.
Yeah, he's making one a
Arrival
year.
was last year. Like it's
Prisoners
been
was
about every
2013.
year, and I doubt that. I think Prisoners was 2013. Yeah. Well, and then Enemy also came out that same year.
Yeah, that same year.
theatrically anyway.
So he's
But-
doing like one a year.
Yeah, like, and I doubt that Blade Runner is going to cost 100 million. Like it doesn't
Well,
look.
with advertising, probably will.
Well,
Just
no,
the cast.
No, because Arrival was pretty
like-
resourceful, and he made it for probably like 40 million. Like I doubt he's going to make it big and bloated. That it's going to demand a huge budget.
Dune
He'll
is
probably
gonna be
make a
huge
movie that'll
budget,
still
though.
feel big. Dune
No,
is probably going to be expensive.
Dune is going to
as
be
fuck.
huge. That's
Yeah.
legendary. They just lost their CEO, Thomas Tull. This is like the first really, really, really big get for Wanda. This is like an international franchise. They're probably going to pimp the shit out of it and try to make it like the hugest blockbuster of the year. That isn't a superhero movie. But who knows? Talking about superheroes, though. Flash and Supergirl are having a musical crossover. I've talked about this a lot. Huge news item here. The lyricist behind La La Land wrote one of the songs. It's titled Running Home to You. This just got guaranteed to be good. This is going to be like the best thing on TV this year. Better than Stranger Things season 2. Like, this is going to be the best thing. I'm like 4 episodes behind on The Flash currently. This episode's next month. I'm going to catch up fucking real quick so I can watch this crossover. And they still haven't announced the director. I hope it's Joss Whedon. I still hope it's Joss Whedon. Someone good.
I'm out of the loop on this, but I will. I appreciate your enthusiasm, sir.
It's gonna be funny as shit. It's a musical crossover episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like the CW hasn't done that since Buffy, and that wasn't even a crossover. So just saying. Bigger CW news though. Do you remember that Black Lightning show that I talked about a while ago? It's like DC's first black superhero. Came out in the 70s.
I think so.
So yeah, Fox was trying to make that. They decided they're not. It's jumped ship just like Supergirl and is going to the CW. It just got a pilot order. It's going to be the 5th show as part of the Berlantiverse, also known as the Arrowverse on the CW. So it's joined the likes of Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. Those take place Monday through Thursday, which means this is a natural fit for a Friday slot. They're going to, if this gets picked up for a order, they're going to have a CW DC show every day of the week.
Yeah, that's the worst slot that it could get, though, right?
No, not worse. I'm just saying,
like Friday's typically bad for TV, but yeah, no, that'd be insane. Like that they have that many.
It would be so cool because they have one of everything. Supergirl, it's for the girl demographic. The Flash is like the family drama. Arrow is like vigilante justice, kind of dark. DC Legends of Tomorrow is like over the top, weird sci-fi, like almost comical adventures. And then Black Lightning is also like a family drama, but that's like the superhero coming out of retirement angle, while at the same time being a black show. So they're going to have one of everything. This show, mind you, is the second only to Luke Cage to be a superhero show that's headlined by a black actor. So that's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see this pilot, especially because it's right when we start Penny Thoughts in a second, I'm going to talk about a different DC pilot that I watched this week. But the final teaser we have here for the show is that something else got picked up this week, and I'm so excited. Red Oaks is getting a 3rd and final season. That's probably going to be out very soon. I can't wait.
It's good that they're ending it the British way now.
Well, it's not even just that. Just it's a totally underrated show that no one watches. Like
I'm halfway through the 2nd season right now.
I watched that in one day. I watched the first season in one day. Like,
I've been pretty slow. I guess I'm halfway through the entire series. If this 3rd season has only 10 episodes, then I'm literally at the halfway point of the entire thing now.
I still haven't even seen the first episode of the 3rd season of Transparent. Don't ask me why.
How long has it been out?
A long time now, like 4 months. It's been out a while. I never even watched the first episode. I don't know.
Has anyone
why.
even talked about that show anymore?
Not really. It kind of just kind of died off.
It's more like season 1. Oh, it's great. Season 2, you told me, it's kind of the same. And then 3 is like,
Season 2 was all right, but I like the characters in the world enough that I am interested, and I know I will. I think I just haven't really been motivated. Maybe that's because I'm still kind of getting into the swing of VR things at home, and then trying to catch up on the movies from this past year, so I make my top 10 list, and like work and a couple other things. I've just been a little occupied, but yeah, very excited to see Red Oak season 3. If you guys have not seen it yet and you have Amazon Prime, please do. If you like 80s stuff, like especially John Hughesian things, you're going to love it. It has really great heart, great cast. It just feels really good. It's a great 80s throwback. And, given our presidency currently, the 80s are making a comeback, which is good.
It's funny. I just saw the episode that a few days ago that referenced Justice Scalia being nominated for the Supreme Court. It's just a funny throwback there just to hear that at this time. Specifically.
So right now is a spot where we could have an ad break. If you're an advertiser or you got a company or you got a podcast or a website and you want us to talk about it, we could do it right here. And we're going to tell you how you can do that in a little bit. But right now it's Penny Thoughts. This is where we share the things that we've been listening to or watching or eating or anything. We get 3 each and we just talk about them pretty quick before we get into the headlines. That way, you've kind of understood our viewpoints. But before we talk about the bigger things, you can really understand who we are and what we talk about. So you start this week, Steve. What are the 3 things you picked up on?
All right. Well, I've been, mainly because it's been such a terrible week, I've just kind of been watching stuff that's making me think about the end of the world, I guess. A way to start with that is that I saw 28 Days Later, because there was actually a screening on 35 here,
How is that even on 35?
You know what? It was awesome. Like, I'm not going to lie.
It's an all-digital movie.
Yes. Like, here's the thing is, first off, I know it's funny that after Dancer in the Dark, I'm seeing it, and then, I keep talking about that movement and the movies that are kind of tied to it, but not really part of it, even though this has one of the DPs. But, there is something very interesting about just the way that this movie is shot and seeing DV blown up on 35, running at that frame rate, there's something very different about looking at that image rather than seeing it projected on some sort of digital format, that it looks strangely beautiful, and the colors for it still look great. Like, I mean, the common thing that can be said now to film makers is like, hey, you have a camera in your pocket, go out and make something. Like, that's great and inspiring when some turns out great. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, just from the opening, the way that these shots are composed, like the way everything is staged, the way that the shots are filtered, the way that they process this DI, like it looks and feels like a movie, like albeit just more of like a grungy kind of dirty one that has this really strange and interesting look. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, no, like this is so fucking inspiring on a technical level that's like you can make a movie on a fucking cassette tape that looks this good, and it looked really nice.
You said DI. Since it was filmed digital and it went to film, it would be the opposite of that process. Maybe an ID.
There definitely were. There definitely had to be color corrections here because there's contrast, being spiked up and amped up. But
a DI though is scanning the film and making a digital copy. If you make a digital copy,
the color
in the
correction
film,
process. Yeah. I mean, because it's commonly mixed up in the same way, so terminology gets thrown all over the place. But it's like, I mean, like. While technically, I don't want to say it technically looks like shit. It's just, it's not at the same resolution and standard, but it's able to take like all the flaws of just that format and compose these really beautiful looking, just interesting looking shots. And then to have them blown up on 35, it's like, seeing it this way, there was just something about it that looked so cool where I was just like, you know what, I will not see something this way again. And I really got a kick out of that. Aside from that, the movie is still awesome. As far as zombie movies, I also finally caught Train to Busan.
Yeah, I saw that on Letterboxd earlier. How do you like it?
So much fun, dude.
So good, right?
Like, it really is just a standard zombie movie, and I kind of love that it's a movie about the Disney dad, the dad that's always working his ass off, just focused on nothing but that, and never has time to be with his kid. And, it's kind of like that template with the Santa Claus. It's this movie where something's going to happen so that he can do something nice for his kid and get along with them, although it's a zombie movie instead, and they're on a train and it's in South Korea, and South Korea, they just know how to make fucking movies, man. And it's a really exciting ride. Like, I swear, there's just one moment that really pissed me off. I don't know if you can tell what it is, but like one character did something so fucking stupid that just, felt.
I'm talking about the banker dude, the angry dude, the villain.
No. Like, I get that there's someone like that, but there's one. All right, spoilers real quick for Train to Busan, if that's cool. If you don't want to hear anything, then skip ahead like a couple minutes. The two old women on the train that, like, the two sisters that... Yeah, the one that opens that fucking door to let them all in.
No, fuck yeah. I was very happy about that.
So fucking dumb, though.
No, how is that dumb? Think about it.
That's such a dumb screenwriting moment where you're going to risk all the innocent people on that train. Like, I get it that a bunch of them are afraid.
Those weren't innocents.
I can buy it. Like, there's that one fucking asshole banker, but no, it's like,
they were all fucking assholes.
Oh yeah, no.
They were all,
and then they're giving in to fear at that point. And yes, I totally get it that they're despicable, but that's such a shitty.
It was not a
thing
shitty
to do
moment
at that point. Yeah,
I would have done the exact same thing.
No, you don't get to decide.
No, I would have done the exact same thing.
That's what assholes do, and she's no better than them.
Yeah,
for doing
those
that.
assholes decided the other people's fate.
I really thought that was just a dumb move as far as screenwriting.
No.
It's
that
like
was a brilliant moment. That always happens in a zombie movie.
No, it killed it for me. It
always happens in a
someone
zombie
catatonic
movie.
just getting everybody else killed. I can't stand that shit.
It's what happens in the genre. Someone has
and then
enough
to top
and they
it off,
open the
that fucking
doors.
those two assholes are still alive even after that. And it's just kind of like, well, shit. Like, I mean, I loved hating them. Like, right when you see that, then you keep going along with it. But yeah, no, I mean, that moment did drive me nuts. Still a fucking awesome movie, though. Like,
no, I love
really,
that moment.
and that's all I'm going to spoil of it.
Everything about the movie I saw from a mile away. There's nothing about Train to Busan that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, no, like,
it does it really, really
it's
well.
Standard. It plays with cliches. Like, there's genuine emotion there that you definitely feel every beat, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really, really fun.
The little girl's great. The dad's
train
great.
Ride. Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
The action is really good until you get to
South Korea. They fucking
until it goes off the
almost
rails and it kind of gets weird. But it could have been like a good 20-minute shorter. But it never drags, and
it never bothered me.
It's a great ride, and it's tense and it's emotional, and it's funny, and there's good action, and the zombies move fast, and just everything about it is just done really, really well. And it's funny that you saw 28 Days Later and then that, because it owes a lot to that film, especially just in terms of the fast zombies thing.
Yeah, well, like 28 Days, this is something I love about 28 Days Later, especially seeing it theatrically. Like, just the sound of that, like I love how it can be quiet, and then when zombies just come in smashing through windows, it is so fucking loud that it just kind of like you don't like necessarily jump up out of fear. Maybe it's because I've seen the movie before, but you just feel like just that sound of all the glass breaking. You just feel all the impact of that, and I really thought that was awesome. And that's you know, even if technically it might make you question at first glance, like why the fuck would you see that movie in a theater? I'm 35, no less. I'm like, no, like seeing that movie in a theater was a lot of fun, and having the best technical presentation for it possible, totally worth it. And
what's your third one?
Yeah, third one. I could have gone with Red Oaks, but well, you know what? I did see the James Baldwin documentary, "I Am Not Your Negro," which is very topical right now, especially on the topic of race on this country. And I'm not going to talk about it too much.
It's a documentary. You can't really
yeah,
talk about
like
those.
you know, like totally. If you really want to reflect on that and the state of race in the past and how it relates to now, and just you know, definitely gave me a lot to chew on afterwards. And you know, I actually it's funny because there was a Malcolm X adaptation that James Baldwin was working on. I think it was in the 70s that Billy D. Williams was supposed to star in. And I still have not seen the Spike Lee, Denzel Washington
It's an epic.
version.
It's a really long movie. It goes
I do
from,
want to see it at some point.
It goes from Malcolm X being like, well, it starts with his childhood, but not really. But it's his whole fucking life. It was adapted directly from his autobiography. Like,
but I'm not gonna lie
it's a
though,
long movie.
Right when I found out about that though, imagining Billy D. Williams as Malcolm X,
I can't see that. That's
that's a funny thing to think about.
Funny and like that's
obviously,
bad. Like
I don't know about that's bad because it's like, well, you know what? At that time, for all I know, that could have been great, but I don't have anything to compare it to other than the poster of Denzel Washington as Malcolm X, and then of course all the archival footage as Malcolm X, and I'm just kind of like, well, you know, I can't see it, but yeah, you know, it's a documentary that no doubt is gonna burn an impression of this time right now, and really just a documentary more about like how we view America and what America really is, and then how race ties into that. And I mean, really, it left me with a lot to chew on and reflect on afterwards. And I don't know what other people's experience is going to be with it. You know, it's a documentary, so it's tough to rate. But yeah, this is an Amazon Studios documentary. It's going to hit that definitely at some point. So yeah, if that is something that you feel like chewing on for 90 minutes, then by no means, you got nothing to lose. There's definitely a lot of thought-provoking moments that are bound and just things to think about just of the current state of the country, you know, especially right now.
Well, talking about Amazon, I checked out one of their movies.
I knew you were
going to
use the segue.
Manchester by the Sea. I finally saw it, or better yet, I finally finished it. I watched it in 2 parts. I was watching it. I got halfway through. I fell asleep. I picked it up a little bit later because the movie moved so slow that wasn't really a problem. It's all conversation. There's no action. It's the opposite of what Elvis wanted to sing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of sat in bed, and I was like, I thought Michelle Williams had a really good performance in this movie. She's barely in it. What the fuck were they talking about at Sundance? Like, why is Casey Affleck the forerunner for Best Actor? He didn't seem that
really
great.
Because of their one scene. That's why.
Yeah, they have a really great scene.
They have an
and it
amazing
lasts like
scene
5
that just
minutes.
wrecks you.
It's not even 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, but that's really all that it's built up to. And like, I mean, Casey Affleck really has one expression there, but he's holding back so much with good reason. Like,
no, yeah, he's not bad, but
yeah,
I was watching. I was like,
this
is supposed to be the best actor of the year. I was like,
well, I don't know. It's always weird for me to rank performance. Like, you know, like I can't ever really do that. Like, judge something on best performance of the year. But like, yeah, just as far as how just the characterization of him and how he plays that and what it all ends up culminating to, like, it really I mean, this movie left me with a really weird feeling at the end. Like, I dare say it may have even devastated me. Like, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's just like the final thing that that he says about everything that he just endured at that point and everything that's going on, and it's just like that really kind of just struck me, just as far as like someone that's a movie about trying to move on and trying to move forward and not going in a conventional Hollywood route, and it just ends in a way that felt brutally honest and truthful to, I think, a lot of a lot of things I've at least experienced.
Yeah, in terms of convention, it definitely goes against the grain. It's an interesting movie because it doesn't exactly tell you a story or play out in a way that a film generally does. And part of that is it's not linear structure. I mean, it is linear, but it has a good amount of flashbacks, and especially when the film starts, it's kind of hard to keep track of that. But there's like really interesting editing choices. You know, like last episode we were bringing up Demolition, how much I really enjoyed the editing in that. I still think it's the best editing of the year. Arrival also has really great editing. But this one probably is gonna win. Like if Moonlight doesn't, it's gonna be this one for editing.
Just the way that like the story itself is structured, and then how everything is contextualized as you find out these pieces of information, and just how they hit you, and like
it's
you
more
understand
than just
all
that,
the details.
Though. It was like the choices in when moments ended, like when a scene ended. Like you get these characters getting in the car and they're arguing, and then they don't even finish the conversation. They just like throw out like, "Oh yeah, fuck you too," and then it jumps to something else, and you're like, well, that's kind of how life is. Like, you know, it's not a pretty tied up, like, great conversation and something memorable. It's like, no, like, you're throwing fucking daggers at each other. You're trying to hurt each other because you're in pain. Like,
and there's so many, like, difficult things happening there that no one is addressing, but you can definitely see that they're there because you're the objective eye of the entire thing, you know? And it's just, like, seeing all that happen and knowing that, like, you want to, like, tell them exactly like how they should be working it out, but you know that they can't because they're so in that moment, and you see that pain there that's happening. It's just like that's what really struck me.
So I knew I had to watch. I was gonna watch it. You know, it's been a best of the year contender since it premiered at Sundance. I was interested to see the movie that you know got that much money as a paycheck. Curious to see the first streaming movie to be nominated for Best Picture, and it's notable too because it's gonna be on Amazon Prime tomorrow. So if you got any interest to see it again, which I doubt, Steve, you can watch it for free tomorrow. I might watch it again.
Maybe some other time I might see it, but not right away. Have you seen anything else by Kenneth Lonergan?
No, I know he's only done 2 other things.
Yeah, Margaret is. I'm one of the few people I think that thought it was fantastic, but
I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know You Can Count on Me is big, but I haven't seen that.
So I had no familiarity with the filmmaker. You know, the actors, obviously Michelle Williams. I've seen all of Dawson's Creek. You know, so I know where she's really from. I've seen most of her shit before she became like this snowflake perfect actress in Hollywood. Like, there's just something about her. Whenever she's in a movie, no one can say anything bad about it. Like, even the Wizard of Oz prequel, they were like, well, at least Michelle Williams is good as Glenda. It's like,
how often does she do big tentpole stuff? Because that's really the only one I can think of. Yeah,
no, that was
I know she's done I'm blanking on her name. The chick that did Wendy and Lucy.
That was like the first big movie she'd ever done.
Yeah,
she's known for doing things like this. Like, yeah, she was on Dawson's Creek, but even when she was on that, she was doing more like smaller things. Like I know she's in Brokeback Mountain. She's usually that wife, like in the fucked up relationship. Isn't she in The Last Waltz?
I have not seen
with Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, that. Which I have not seen that.
Yeah, with the relationship drama. Like, she's in the smaller indie darling, like, you gotta watch this one because she's really good in it type of stuff. And same is true here, except she's really not even in it. Like, I know she's nominated for Best Actress. She should be supporting. Like, what the fuck? Like, are you joking?
That is a supporting role, yeah.
Is it, like, this is the Casey Affleck movie. Like, yeah, you got his nephew or whatever. It's one person. Mm-hmm. It's a one-person movie, and you feel for him. But
like, she's a big part of it. But yeah, no, that's not a leading actress.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Like I said, I'll probably watch it again sometime in the future, especially because I would assume it's never gonna
feel so crappy about yourself.
No, I didn't even feel that way. Because I watched it in a disjointed manner. I did take a break. I would like to see it in one sitting to see what kind of impact that has. I mean, when I stopped it, I already knew where things were going to go anyway. But just like some of the scenes, like I think there'd be a bigger payoff if I watched it in one go.
There's something. I mean, I don't know if you watched it with headphones or anything, but there's just something when you see even movies like that in the theater where they just let the scene run, and you have all these natural sounds playing in the background, and you just feel the environment. And this is like a 2.5-hour movie, so I mean, like this struck me like definitely, but then when I left the theater, it's just like I still had like the senses of everything that you have there in in Boston over just in that area. Like you still feel like you're in that environment somehow, which is like, it's just that weird feeling when you like really get struck watching a movie. Like, it's that thing that I kind of love. Like, I think the theater was just the perfect environment just for me to really feel that space. And like, it just, by the time I was walking out, it's like, it really burned that impression on me, and I was unable to shake it for quite a while at that point. Yeah. I saw Moonlight the same exact day. So like both movies, it was weird. It was like, cause they both have like this very specific feeling to them, and like, both of them were just burned in my brain at like the same time. So it really just, it was like this weird sort of clash between the two. Yeah. But yeah.
So yeah, Manchester by the Sea, if you want something that's going to make you not feel good, that's on Prime by the time you listen to this. Something that will make you feel good is Swiss Army Man, and I'm very happy to announce that is on Prime now also. So Yay. Definitely watch that, because no one fucking saw it this year for some reason, and it should have been nominated for an Oscar in at least any category. One of the best movies of the year. That seriously.
Makeup, cinematography,
anything.
Sound. Seriously, sound. Like
anything.
Not just music, but sound.
How about
really.
Daniel Radcliffe for Best Actor? Like,
that
anything.
Would never happen, but sure.
Should have happened. I'm sorry, you made me care for a fucking corpse. Like, and he was funny. Yeah. Which I didn't know Harry Potter could do.
He was, yeah. What, have you not seen Harry Potter?
They said he's not funny.
I'm trying to think. I really wanted to, what else has he done? Shit.
Not much. He's usually a serious actor.
The F Word. Did you not laugh there?
That's not how I call that movie What If.
But the original title is The F Word.
Yeah, no. But I call it What If. No, I like that. Yeah, he's funny in that. That's one of my favorite rom-coms of that year. Him and Elie Kazan, they got really good chemistry. It's like, I wonder, like, I know we talked about this during Swiss Army Man, but if, like, he was like, so, you like my wife? Is she fun to work with? Like, what kind of conversations they had about that? Paul Dano was like,
man.
Yeah, we'll have you around sometime. How about that? Don't make out with her.
How do stars and relationships like that work? Because it's almost like everyone knows everyone,
Right? Or they've made out with everyone or done a sex scene. It's like, I don't know. I saw something really good this week, though, that I had been wanting to see for a while. I really wanted to catch in theaters, and I sadly didn't. I caught The Edge of 17, which was seriously, oh my god, so fucking good. Just one of the best teen movies I've seen in a long time, and I even hesitate to say that because it's rated R. So, you're supposed to be 17 at the least to watch this.
No, that's like a real teen movie, because, like, think about it. High School is R-rated.
It is, but,
that's what made Superbad one of the best high school movies of my time.
See, that's a high school movie,
that's totally for high schoolers at that point. Like,
sort of, but it's like less with Edge of 17 because she's supposed to be a junior, and most juniors are like 16.
They become 17 at that point too.
They're at the edge of 17,
So yeah, that fits.
So it's a fitting title, and they don't actually use the song in the movie, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really good. It's written and directed by the lady that wrote Post Grad. So if you haven't seen that, it's actually pretty good. Alexis,
is that actually?
It's actually pretty good. It's like,
I heard it was pretty not good.
It's not great or anything. It's just like it's interesting, especially for us. Like, it's Alexis Bledel. She just graduated from college. She's trying to get a real job. She can't. She's living at home. Michael Keaton's her dad, and there's just like weird little hijinks that happen.
I kind of have to watch it now just because.
Just
because of that.
I saw it on cable right when it came out. When I was watching this, I was like, oh, I really like this. I went on IMDb. I looked up the director. I was like, I've never heard of her before. I looked at her filmography. I was like, oh, she wrote that. I was like, that makes sense. Like the comedy here is the same, but it's written so fucking well. Haley Steinfeld, just one of the smartest, well-written teen characters I've seen in fucking forever. Like since Emma Stone in The Easy A. Except that's like beyond feasibility. Like that wouldn't
that movie
actually.
Is just more like it's it's well written, but it's like. It's kind of quirky in that sense. Yeah, if that's even the word I'm looking for.
This is too, though. Yeah, this is very
like that one's more stylized dialogue rather than great characterization. I think
it's a mix of both. But Haley Steinfeld's character here is just you've met someone like this, 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm the person that she is in that movie. Okay, whereas like everyone just thinks you're an asshole. Like that's her character. She does it so well, and I like so many things about it, especially just how romance is portrayed. Like it's not the classical Hollywood standard where it's like oh, she just wants to meet someone and be happily ever after. Like, no, she just wants to get laid because she's a virgin. Like, and not in the 16 Candles type of way, like in a more realistic way. And it's, quote unquote for millennials because it was released this year. But no, it doesn't feel that way. She has this line where she's like, it feels like I'm an old person. I don't even fit in today. Her love interest, Irwin, it's notable. I hesitate to even say love interest, but he's Asian. That fucking never happens in movies. And apparently he was the first person cast, too, because it's like an Asian production company. But yeah, check this one out.
Yeah.
I'd buy it for $1. Like, so good. Like, it's going to make you feel, it's going to make you laugh, maybe get emotional. It just goes places that you don't anticipate. A lot of people last year, 2 years ago now, were really big on Diary of a Teenage Girl. I wasn't. That was a little too nihilistic for me, a little too dark. This is like the same kind of thing. Also, like I said, female writer-director, except it's a feel-good movie. Like, you're watching it, like, it's not Lifetime, but almost, and everyone's good in it. I love the wardrobe choices. She's always wearing a different pair of Vans. Real interesting. The setup for it basically is, what if your best friend started dating your brother? So just interesting. You've like never seen that in a movie before. And then I thought it was funny because her best friend is one of the girls in the bronze, the gymnast in the bronze, and then her brother is Bruce Jenner from Everybody Wants Some. So the cast is...
You mean Blake Jenner?
Blake Jenner, yeah. So
a different guy completely.
The whole cast, you might not know who they are. You've seen them somewhere. Really good though. Yeah, especially Woody Harrelson. He has a great supporting
I've
role.
seen the trailers for it. I remember, and I just missed it because it came out in September or November.
It was November, yeah.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah, so not that long ago.
Highly
recommend
it.
I remember him in the trailers. Like, yeah, he got that big moment where he's reading back the text and that line about run-on sentences, like, got a huge laugh every single time by somebody.
It's probably going to be in my top 10. Like, I'd be highly surprised if it wasn't. And I think
that seems like your type of movie. High school movies especially.
It's the high school movie. I think the high school film is still the best genre out. Like, I might love noir, I might love gore. I have a penchant for superhero stuff. I'm going to be talking about that in a second here. But yeah, the high school movie, man, like, there's just something about it. I think mostly just because the audience aren't adults yet. They haven't lived through everything, and they're going to watch these movies because they're starring actors that are their age, so they're attracted to it just inherently. And yet it teaches you so much about life, and not even when you're that age, but when you're any age. And so just the idea that this is something that could change not just your worldview, but also literally your life, there's anything else like it. Something else that there's nothing else like I saw this week. I saw the pilot for Powerless, NBC's DC like workplace comedy. I'm gonna watch it again this week.
Yeah.
Only for one reason, and it's because I've watched Flash and Arrow and Supergirl. I've seen Gotham. I've seen like an episode of Lucifer. I've seen at least an episode of everything DC that's airing currently. And this was 100% the deepest rooted in DC mythology, while at the same time also being like the most bizarre out of all of them. Like, like all those other shows, they're not exactly fan service. It's just like, oh, here's a show about this superhero, whatever. Like Gotham especially. It's like, this isn't about Batman. This is about Gotham and the villains and how they started. This show, though, is 100%. Do you like DC Comics? Do you want to see a show that is 100% targeted towards you, and yet anyone else can watch it? Check this out. The setup is really brilliant. It's the city, Charm City, which, as far as I know, doesn't exist in comics. And basically, Vanessa Hudgens is like the boss, or she just got in to be the boss for Wayne Security, who creates like gadgets and stuff to like help civilians from supervillains, basically. and the spin that you get at the end of it, like I said, it's Wayne Security, so like you get Batman mentioned like here or there, but there's like I laughed out loud or like just like giggled at certain moments. They're like, oh, are you waiting for a wizard to help you out? And this Danny Pudi's like, Shazam! He's like, oh nope, he didn't come down to help you out. And it's like that is such like a way out there DC joke because Shazam is not something that people are commonly aware of. He's one of their heroes that is like gonna get big because of the DCEU, but like I couldn't stop laughing. Like not because of that joke, just throughout. Like not good. The show's not good as a pilot. So like I said, I'm gonna watch it again. I'm really curious, especially Alan Tudyk, so fucking good on this. He plays Bruce Wayne's cousin. Yeah, I'm gonna hesitate on saying check it out for right now. Maybe next week I'll have something more to say. But really
it's
interesting.
It's only a pilot at this point.
It's a pilot, yeah. So in terms of what it offers on TV in the DC universe, there's nothing else like it. The rest of them, even if they're lighthearted and like good time feeling, like The Flash, they're still mostly serious. This was not. Like this is a sitcom. It's a workplace sitcom. It's Ron Funches, fucking Danny Pudi, Alan Tudyk, this other girl I don't know the name of. Like, everything's a joke, even when it's serious. Like, she's running around with this book called Wayne or Lose, like How I Became a Millionaire or something like that. Like, just like little tiny things that shouldn't be important, but like I don't know. Just I'm happy that NBC took this choice. Like, I'm not generally a fan of their comedies outside of Parks and Recreation, but this was cool. Like, I'm gonna check it out next week. Now that you've listened to us talk about some stuff, we've reviewed a couple of things. If you're into that, I mean, if you like the news too, you can come back every week. But we do spoiler-free reviews for new releases. Most notably, this award season, we did Elle and La La Land. We also did Swiss Army Man, which we were talking about earlier, Green Room, which also didn't get any love for some reason. Sing Street.
From the Oscars,
well,
really?
I'm not saying the Oscars anywhere. Green Room didn't get nominated anywhere. Like, not even Critics'
for
Choice.
the Independent Spirit. Oh wait, yeah, because that's
No, we got fucking nothing.
Well,
Sing Street either, really. Like, you know, Sing Street, we got an episode for that. No one really talked about that. Like, you got nominated at the Golden Globes, but
All right, well, let's create an award show.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we can send them out something, at least so they feel like they made something nice. Yeah. Not that they don't already feel accomplished.
We'll send the kids something. We're like, hey, you guys were really good on this.
Be like, hey, you did a great song. Here you go. Here's a piece of paper printed out with our names on it saying we liked what you did.
Yeah, so if you...
that's a good way to get recognition.
Maybe. But if you're interested in us doing reviews for new releases...
No, wait. Sorry. How about an award?
An E award?
Just have it like be emailed to them.
Like
it's kind of like an e-card or something. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But it would have
like Photoshop and everything?
I don't know.
Just be like, hey, you got a penny from us.
It's like, you think that out, and then we'll see. A giant penny like Batman. Talking about Batman, though, if you're interested in hearing one of our reviews... I'm for sure going to be seeing the Lego Batman movie this weekend. Steve might also. We might have a review out early next week. And we do lots of superhero stuff here. We did Batman vs. Superman 3 fucking times. Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange, fucking Ghostbusters. Like we might be doing
anything else.
We might be doing Logan.
I'll be seeing it for sure.
So yeah, you can check that out. And then we also have Debt to Cinema, which is definitely our better show, our best show. It's the one that we actually have fans for. And that's our semi-topical List of Shame show that we put out every Wednesday. The episode that we have coming later this week, which we talked about earlier, is Time Crimes. We got My Bloody Valentine next week, the original, not the remake. And we might have Brendan from Scream 101 on that, too. We'll have to talk to him. He was on our Black Christmas episode. Some other stuff that we've done recently. We did Dance from the Dark last week. Really interesting movie. If you've never seen that, please check it out. You can watch it for free on YouTube. Don't tell the internet. 9 Lives, Samurai Cop, Tricked, Mean Streets. Usually good stuff, sometimes shitty stuff. Always interesting, always a fun conversation. And it has spoilers, unlike dollar reviews. And if you like any of that stuff or what we've been talking about so far for this past hour, as I said earlier, there was an ad break that could have happened up there earlier. You could pay us. Patreon.com/dollarreviews. You could support the show. We do it for free. You know, we love getting Twitter follows and likes and getting people on Facebook to like our page. And we're trying to expand where we are on the internet. We're all over the place. We're on fucking, what? Let me read the list. Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, Tumblr. You can listen to us on Google Play Music, iTunes, Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, SoundCloud. If you can think of it, we're probably there. And then, of course, yeah, dollarreviews.net. But we want to get more places, and we want to be able to watch more movies and buy more games, and just be able to review not necessarily more things for you, but to really incentivize us to keep on doing it, because right now it's just the fan feedback, and as much as we love you, Phil, you're just one of none. So if you'd like to do that, like I said, Patreon, we would love you for that. Here we go with the headlines, though. We're going to start with some politics just because it's fucking everywhere, so why not here, too? You said before the show, Steve, I'm tired of Facebook and less so Twitter, but definitely Facebook.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
so
they're
nauseating.
crazy times right now, yeah.
It's nauseating. Like, that's the only word I can do. It's like, I don't even really know you. I don't really care about your opinion on regular stuff. Why should I care about your opinion about a president that you didn't vote for?
It's just it makes me more apathetic every day, you know. But like at the same time, you can't not pay attention to it. Now,
It's
you
like,
know, you have to know what's going on. But then the way some people are online, where they have to give opinions on everything, which is, you know, that's nothing new. That's how
what-
the internet has been since Facebook and Twitter, and that's just how people have
I
been.
mean, it's what we're doing right now.
in general. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not like telling people what to think. It's more me having a conversation with you, and that's just out there for other people to hear. That's
like,
how I look at it anyway.
I never post about this stuff on the internet. I almost never even publicize my episodes. And yet, I have these countless people on my Facebook feed that are just going ham, going fucking crazy about the shit. The big one this week, it wasn't the Muslim ban that we talked about last week. I mean, in good news about that, like 96 companies in the tech industry signed a document saying, like, we oppose this. Most of the people that work for us are from these countries or work in the neighboring countries, and it's wrong. And it's awesome because a judge that was, mind you, appointed by George W. Bush in Washington State has decreed that the ban is unconstitutional. So they're in the steps right now between like Homeland Security and the State Department to see what's going on here. And like Trump's real upset about that, whatever. The big thing that actually happened this week, though, was the UC Berkeley thing. I'm sure you read about this. This is what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I can't really pronounce his name because it's hard. But
It's
Milo,
just flat out, it was wrong, and to justify that
no,
is stupid.
Here's the thing, though. So this is what happened. Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a known alt-right guy, he got banned on Twitter for harassing Leslie Jones when her nudes like leaked. A lot of people hate him on the internet. Even like conservatives hate him. And so he's doing a college tour. He was going to be at UC Berkeley last week, and amidst that, right before it happened, you know, students on campus were protesting. Makes sense, as UC Berkeley is where like the free speech movement started in the 60s. One of the more liberal college campuses. It's in the heart of San Francisco, sort of. And so what most of the internet was saying was that students protested, got violent, threw stuff, burned stuff, destroyed property, fucked up campus, all this stuff. And out of that, Donald Trump tweeted this thing where he's like, well, if you're going to do that, you don't support free speech, I'm going to cut your funding. And so the internet went fucking crazy. They're like, no, protesting, especially violent protest, is free speech. You should be able to destroy property you're upset. Like, yeah, that is free speech. And I'm like, no, that's not free
No, that's
speech.
destruction of property.
Yeah, yes,
Like,
free speech. This is
yeah.
a college. This is not a private university. This is a public one. This is University
that's action.
of
Saying
California.
What you're protesting against, that's free speech. But
Yeah.
to fucking throw shit, break a window, that's not a part of
So,
it.
yeah, at first I
Like-
was like, oh, these are whiny college students throwing a tantrum because they literally were trying to combat free speech. It is within this guy's purview. He was, called to action by the Republican, student body on campus to speak there, and they're crying about it. Like, that's fucked up. Like, how are they restricting
Just
free speech?
protest it. Like, people have been protesting all over the country peacefully. Don't fucking break
This is
shit.
the thing, though. This was hidden in the news. This is because, mind you, people our age do not actually read the news. They respond to things that they hear people talking about.
They respond to headlines, yeah.
Yeah. This is actually what happened. There was a militant group on campus called the Black Bloc, which is a known anarchist group in the Oakland area. Maybe they're responsible for the fucking warehouse fires a couple months ago. They showed up, and about 150 people strong. They were the ones that were
started it?
Yeah. They were the ones that were hurting people, that were inciting violence, that started throwing Molotov cocktails and burning things and destroying public property. Like, they almost burnt down their library on campus. Or no, the bookstore, I mean. They were responsible. The students were in fear. Like, they were running away. And so, and this was reported, I read about it on CNN. But before I did that, I can't remember who retweeted it, but someone I follow did. I was just under the impression, like everyone else on the internet, that no, they were just students that fucked up, that were being stupid. And so people were getting out of line by thinking that the students did that and they were supporting this action, this retarded action, literally. And instead, it had nothing to do with the students at all. They were peacefully protesting. You know, they had signs and they were, you know, maybe doing chants and saying, like, fuck you, like, get off our campus, we don't like you. But a militant group literally started everything. And the mainstream media, the fake news, didn't even talk about that. Literally. It was supposed to be, oh yeah, no, this was the students. And
you said you read it on CNN too, right?
yeah. So, you know, maybe not the real news either.
Well, that is fake news, I guess.
But no, I'm positive this is the real story. But what's crazy here is both sides of the aisle use this as a catalyst. The liberals were going, yeah, the students were right, you're allowed to protest. The conservatives were going, fuck you, you shouldn't be in college anymore. You know, and yet they were both wrong because they were both reacting to a reaction. They weren't even citing the source, which is insane. Like, I can't, like, you know,
it's crazy. How do you find the truth on these things anymore? Because, like, you're in danger of reacting automatically to something you don't know
like,
about.
I might have voted for the man. I don't exactly support Donald Trump so far in his presidency. It's still early, but he's doing shit, you know? Like, he's not sitting down doing nothing, but he might be
tweeting about cutting funding. That's another one of those incidents where it's like, dude, just no. Like, I mean, every single tweet of his. I mean,
I don't follow him. Okay.
I see them retweeted all the time or quoted, and it's just like, dude, Donald Trump, just shut up. I even go on his page every once in a while, just scroll through. It's like, what dumb thing has he said today? And it's like, dude, just shut up. Seriously, like,
my thing though is
about the dumbest stuff.
He is on to something every once in a while. Like, he might not be the most articulated.
And then he'll kill it. He'll totally kill it though after a certain point.
Perhaps, like, you know, he's not the brightest guy in the room.
No, but there is a reason why he is successful.
Like, I voted for him because, he is a loudmouth. Like, he will say the things that people aren't saying. And in the case of this, in terms of the fake news stuff, like, you know, maybe Fox News and CNN and these people aren't the journalists to target. But yeah, he's right. Like,
I don't agree with you 100%, but I kind of see where you're coming from.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
you know, as far as him saying the stuff that people won't say, no, I think he makes shit up a lot.
Oh, he definitely does that too. But
yeah,
in terms
but
of
like
his fake
that,
news
you just can't
tirade,
buy everything he's saying.
This thing that he's going on and on about, I'm part of it. I believe in it, and the reason is, as a journalist, as someone who reports on the news on a weekly basis, I pick what I want to talk about. I articulate my viewpoint. I try to do a good job of expressing what happened objectively, and then go into, you know, our back and forth about what we think on it. But given that I only go to one or two sources at max and talk about what they talked about, I could be wrong. I could be wrong inherently because they were wrong. And not necessarily because they're looking to mislead me, but just that people make errors in the way that...
That's the thing. Like, we are in a time now where journalists especially have a huge... Like, this should be the best time for reporters right now. Like,
yeah.
Because they just, in general, like, they have a huge responsibility of getting the stuff out there. But then at the same time, there are so many different avenues to access that it can get distorted so easily that it really just depends on, like, who you trust, which is kind of sad.
It's weird because... I'm sure ABC and CNN and CBS and Fox and all of the major news outlets don't intend to mislead their viewers or readers, you know? But at the same time, we'll use Fox, for instance, because, you know, they are more right-wing. They only tell stories that they want to tell. I don't watch the local news for good reasons. Mostly because, you know, might they show, like, oh yeah, a baby was saved from a hospital today, whatever. If you watch the news, outside of, like, the lotto numbers and the weather, most of what they report on is bad stuff. They want you to be scared. They're fear-mongering. They want you to stay at home. They want you to buy, like, flu vaccines and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they have an agenda. It's always something angled. It's not just, oh, yeah, we lived another day, guys. Good job. Like, why do they report on what they have to report on? Like it's almost always 65% negative on the news, regardless of the source. Like that's why the internet is such a strong thing. It's the reason why net neutrality is important, because the internet gives you at least an option, especially through social media, not Facebook, but Twitter. If someone is actually live on the scene, for instance, undoubtedly, you can go on Twitter, find a Berkeley student, or probably several that were at the protests, read their tweets that happened in real time, and get a literal first-person eyewitness perspective of what's going on during the protest. That is possible with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, what people were doing is, oh, I heard this thing that someone told me, and I don't even know who said it, but yeah, Berkeley. And that's the news item. In the same way, like last week at the top of the show, we were talking about the Muslim ban. I didn't know what it was. I had to do some research. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Donald Trump is not allowing people from these 7 countries to enter the U.S., even if they're American citizen. That's fucked up. I got the story, you know? But at the time of recording last week, I had no clue. I just knew that Facebook was mad about something, that Twitter was mad about something. And that seems to be how this presidency has gone. And even before the presidency, just the presidential race itself. Like, it's a circus. Like, people... I don't know.
Well, we are like there. It's a weird thing on both sides. It's so stupid. Is that people just react automatically and like write down essays on things that when they really only have a 1 sentence long fact to go off
and
on.
maybe not even a fact, just a headline.
But yeah, and then I don't know. Then you got the White House press secretary coming out and just saying all this accusatory shit, and it's
he's a jackass.
There is no communication here between the government and the people. Like,
well, see, that's the thing, though.
That's
because remember 2 weeks ago we were talking about how they were adding Skype computers in the press room, so online.
But you know what's really
journalists
dangerous about that, though, is that they can control what questions come out, knowing what they are ahead of time.
The press room always does that.
Yeah, they decide what they get.
Watch The West Wing if you haven't. It's all about
I'm just saying, but that's even scarier. You can get really far right-wing people to be asking the stuff that they want to answer. Like there was something great about that idea, but now it just seems like
there's freedom to that. Okay, like.
There is, but then like it seems like it could be horribly.
I love the concept of, instead of these established news outlets being there and being the sole access to what you're hearing.
It's like I love the idea fundamentally too, but it can be completely manipulated for the worst.
Let's be honest. How many people watch C-SPAN on a regular basis?
They don't. I mean,
people don't.
That's just Congress.
It's not exciting. I'm pretty
they
sure
just watch the greatest hits that play on there.
I'm pretty sure C-SPAN also covers the press room in the White House. You know, so you can watch a direct feed of what happened, and instead, what gets out there are like these 8-second Vine loops of like something stupid that Spencer said, or Spicer. I mean, like that's it. Yeah. That's what you see. That's what you laugh about. Like I've never watched the guy speak. I don't know anything about him. Period. And
well, he's kind of a douchebag.
You know, I know that. I mean, that's most of his cabinet. Yeah. But at the same time, it's so early still in this presidency that I'm trying to hold back from just reacting hastily. Like, I want to gather as much information as I can before I go, oh yeah, I made a mistake voting for this guy. When
I don't mind, like people reacting hastily in Facebook, like that's one thing, but we're in a time where like 2 weeks all this stuff has happened, and people are concerned right away, and they're making that clear, like, and they totally have a right to that. There are people that are at least voicing their concerns in a respectful way and in a healthy way, and it's really messed up how all this is happening. But on the internet specifically, like it really, I guess, depends on what people you really want to be friends with online.
It's not even about being friends with them. It's just how quick people are to react. Everyone.
But I mean, yeah, like as far as that,
both
like, I don't think you're not gonna stop people going at each other's throats.
Supporters and critics, they just react so quickly to everything. They don't even give time to think about what happened. You're literally seeing Facebook posts like 5 minutes after something happened. It's like, how did you even type it that fast? It literally just happened.
Well, that's what social media does, is that there's always this urge to be there first. And, like, it's definitely a part of that. We're just after, trying to be that person to, like, get out there first and say something first. Then you just get so used to it that it's almost like you have to have an opinion to everything on the spot. Like, even to me, that's kind of a problem, because here, you function more as a reporter on this show, in that you're covering the news, you're choosing what happens, and I act more as a commentator, because some of this stuff I hear for the first time, and it may not necessarily be right because I don't have much information to go on, but I at least have to like find some starting point to get in there. And it's not like, I don't have opinions set on things that are brought up here on the show, but usually for me they're kind of a starting point to at least try to understand more, where you can easily correct me, and I got no problem with that.
It's like I try to the best of my ability, especially with certain news items, the next one mine in general or in particular, to not go to just one source that I trust, but to go to several so I can get more than one angle on what happened. Because sometimes, someone got it wrong. Like a reporter can mess up.
Yeah.
Like it could be a typo that becomes a whole different word, and then it doesn't even make sense. And so this next item right here, ZeniMax, the owner of Bethesda and by virtue id Software, was they're in the process of suing Oculus, i.e. Facebook, and this is something that lasted months, and they finally got a verdict just like 3 days ago now. And basically, ZeniMax was awarded $500 million in a mixed verdict against Facebook on the grounds that John Carmack helped code Oculus while still under their employ. So the story here is, I forgot his name right now because he hasn't been in the news for so long. Palmer Luckey, as a student at Cal State Long Beach, got in touch with John Carmack, somehow got like his Oculus original headset into his hands. He started coding the thing, and so the court case was seeing, well, did John Carmack use any of id Software's like code? Like, did ZeniMax own any part of Oculus at its inception? And the court decided yes, that it was definitely part of what created what is there. And so, like I said, Facebook is paying $500 million, which is not chump change even for them. And a bigger part of it also is that John Carmack had to delete, when he left their company to become an Oculus chairman, he wiped his hard drive. He only wiped 95% of it or something. Like, he left with certain things, and that's why they got the money. And the funny thing here is during the court process, before the trial was even decided, ZeniMax already bought a virtual reality studio named Escalation, a dev that's already produced VR content even for the Oculus Rift. So they were so cocksure of them winning this money that they spent the money before they got it, basically. I don't think they spent $500 million on the studio. Maybe they spent 20, okay? But they basically bought them with borrowed money, which is hilarious. Of course, Facebook is going to be looking to appeal this. They want to say that they didn't do anything wrong, whatever. And most of the internet, especially the people that are crazy about virtual reality, are wondering, is this something that is going to change where the rest of things go? I was just told that Steve dropped out. He's joining now. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, so
that was the weirdest thing.
It's no problem. I just finished talking about it. Basically, if you didn't hear me, Facebook is paying $500 million to ZeniMax because John Carmack, someone who's on the board of Oculus that helped Palmer Luckey make the VR headset, was found basically guilty of using code that belonged to id, which is part of ZeniMax. The funny part, ZeniMax, before the court was decided, bought a VR studio called Escalation, who's worked on Oculus, and then Facebook, of course, is trying to appeal the verdict. It's funny, especially for the listeners because they're hearing me repeat this. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of people on the internet are wondering if Mark Zuckerberg is upset about his Oculus purchase.
Or is that just that they have so much money that they can easily be able to appeal it and try to bankrupt ZeniMax?
Oh, they couldn't. No. ZeniMax owns Bethesda Studios and id. The franchises under their belt are Skyrim, fucking Fallout, Doom. No,
it'd be dumb to bankrupt them, but Facebook
they couldn't.
Could they at least delay it that long that they have enough money to do it?
No, I think possibly best case scenario for Facebook, they get half that money back. Maybe, but no,
it's not going to hurt them though that much.
It's not. It really isn't. And this is something that basically swept under the rug. They could have just paid. They could have settled instead of this going to the court. But they were so sure that it wasn't going to happen that they went for it, and they had nothing to lose. But already now, Oculus, one of the main VR platforms out there, one of the main studios out there at the beginning of the virtual reality revolution, has been found guilty of basically insider trading to an extent. Like, they built their platform using code from a different company. So it's no longer this like American grassroots like yay we did it type of story, like VR started in the garage of this kid. No, and now it's like collusion, that one of the chairmen of a company left that company to become a chair somewhere else, and he basically did it based on the technology that he built there for them. So it's really interesting. I'm curious to see where this goes. Of course, we're going to report on the appeal when that happens, and I'm curious what, like next time we get Greg on the show, what he knows about this. Something big in VR though that's also related to this. I mean, the Nintendo Switch is coming out in less than a month. We reported like, oh yeah, they might have a patent out there where they're making a VR headset. That rumored VR headset, Nintendo said, might happen if they can iron out some of the kinks and like certain VR problems, which makes sense. It's so stupid. I mean, this past week they announced that the Wii U, which sold fucking nothing. Matter of fact, Super Smash Brothers on the 3DS sold more copies than the Wii U did. They're 100% stop production. You're never going to be able to buy another new one. That's a good thing because there's not many good games for it anyway. But the real news item here is that Switch Online is supposed to cost like less than $30, whatever. So I hope that Nintendo, because they're trying to do so many different things, new things, like groundbreaking things that isn't exactly breaking ground, but in terms of how the mainstream public sees it, is with the Switch. If they can, by the end of this year, create a VR headset attachment, or I'm sure they already created it, but if they can release it to the public, it would be brilliant. I might actually buy one. I'd love to see what Zelda VR is like, like, why not? I'm still holding out. It's less than a month now until it's going to be out there. I am curious to see what the Joy-Con controllers are like, how the system feels in the hand, what the games play like. Like, I am curious. I'm not going to shit on it. This is Nintendo's last chance at being successful, and I would love for them to shoot for the stars, go for VR, go for broke, nothing left behind. Like, really, 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 truly go for it on this one. And
you know what would
to.
really make me happy if it happened maybe like 10 years down the line? Super Smash Brothers in VR.
That's not possible. That would make you fucking throw up.
That would be amazing if it becomes possible. Like in 10 years, if the technology, like there's enough innovations there that make that possible, where you get you get to sustain that, like, and experience that.
Ready
in just
Player
an awesome way.
One, which is really future-proofing.
Have some imagination.
Like, no, that's what I'm
Come
saying.
on, that'd
like
be so cool.
The imagination in that book, and as people will see this time next year in the movie that Steven Spielberg's doing, it really goes out there in terms of what's possible with virtual reality. Like, you're going to see stuff.
If we can get there, that would be amazing.
Well, that's the thing, though. Even in the book, like in terms of the scenarios, it's not like, I don't know. I just, in the amount of VR that I've done, and I've done.
Like, it would
way
be years
more.
away, no doubt.
No, I've
especially
done,
based on what I've done. But
I've done way more than the average human being, or even the average VR user. I just can't imagine a fighting game, especially where you're doing platforming and
at
jumping, and
some
people are flying. And
I would love that.
The death
That'd be
scenario,
awesome.
like getting hurt, like certain things don't work in VR, and I don't think fighting is a game that can work. Boxing, yes. If it's grounded in reality and you're using your actual hands and it all makes sense, like, yeah. But when you throw
still
in,
be able to take hits or something to feel it.
Well, when you throw in superpowers, like say like Mario throwing a fireball,
if they find a way, I would love it.
It's less about finding a way. It's just it's virtual reality. You're being transported to a realm where it seems like it's the real world, except it's a virtual version of it. And for you to have abilities that aren't naturalistic isn't a good fit for VR. Like, yeah, I have this game that I haven't played.
Not in its current state, but if it evolves to a point where that could be possible.
That's what I'm going to say, though. I have this game that I haven't played yet that I already bought this week called Windlands, where basically it's Spider-Man VR. You have two controllers, and you can use them to, like, fucking swing through the trees. The amount of, like, speed and just presence it's supposed to create is awesome. And also supposedly is like one of the top games that makes you throw up. So I'll see what that is like. I'll be talking about that next week. So that is like the height of what you can do in terms of not real. But yeah, Super Smash Bros. I just that's a little too far out there. Like any kind of platforming at all, I'm not a fan of in VR yet.
20 years from now, I'm going to be telling
No.
you about this conversation.
No, because Nintendo's not going to exist 20 years from now.
Come
Not
on.
not in the state that they do currently. In terms of what VR experiences and games work for me currently, and what I can see as a possibility, I don't see an open landscape platforming action like fighting game like that being one of the ones that fits. You have to really create games with VR in mind for them to be a hit. Like certain things transplant or translate well, but that's a little past the realm of possibility. Just because, like, imagine, forget the VR thing. Can you imagine being in a fighting arena where you're able to jump all over the place, and yet it's constrained to 2 dimensions? You're on a flat plane. There isn't 3-dimensionality. You have to just move in a straight line up and down. That's it. And you can do stuff like pull out a bow and arrow from fucking nowhere, or throw a boomerang, or like whirl. Okay, for instance, Link's recovery attack, where you spin in a circle with your fucking sword. That would make you throw up. Period. Period. You couldn't do that one in VR. I'm sorry. It's just like there's certain things that work and there's certain things that don't. And
Again, not in its current state, but if it's literally like
No.
plugging yourself into the Matrix at some point where your physical body is just sitting down and you can just
Nah,
have fun
even-
in that space,
even that would
that'd be dangerous, but
even that would probably make you throw up. Like I don't see it. Like I said, like certain
what if we're able to withstand that at a certain point in time when we get used to it? You
like
know?
look
Who
look
knows?
at like Assassin's Creed.
It's all very speculative and out there, but
Not just no Smash
The idea
Bros.
of it is so cool.
In what Smash Bros is, it is not possible in VR. It is too
Yet.
constrained to 2-dimensional video game logic. Like I said, you
it's,
don't
in the
roam
way
in
that you're thinking
game.
of it, yes, but
No,
in
not-
an evolved form, come on.
No, there is no evolved form. It wouldn't be Super Smash Brothers anymore. Like it would have to be a brand new thing. Like their new IP Arms, which is a launch title for the Switch, where it's literally just a boxing game. That would work in VR. They have a VR game coming
You
out.
can still put
on
some
Oculus.
limitations, but not literally two-dimensional where you can only go left and right, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Smash Bros is
You'd have
left
to
and right
evolve it a little
gameplay.
bit more where if you create that space, you can limit the sides of it, sure,
it
but it's
wouldn't-
still mostly
that's what I'm
going
saying.
forward and back. But
It wouldn't be Smash Brothers if you opened it up to 3D movement.
just
it
a
would-
little bit, like
no,
not
it
too
would
much.
no, it would lose its appeal. Like it, Smash Brothers is very easy to pick up and play because anyone can literally hold the controller and they know what to do immediately. Like you don't need an instruction booklet. You can use anyone in. They might play a little bit differently, but it's the same game.
I'm still holding on to my childhood dreams here, man.
Get a different dream. That's not gonna ever become a reality. Not even a virtual one.
Well, it'll stay a dream.
Sony, though, they're at the forefront of what's possible in console VR currently. Really cool. PlayStation VR bundles, they're available again. You can pre-order them currently at all retailers, GameStop, Amazon, Best Buy. So that means that the production is ramped up. They're hopefully able to meet demand. I hope there's not a shortage on this new wave, but chances are there will be. And it's important to note, because this is just announced right after it was said, that there are over 100,000 people playing Resident Evil 7 in VR. That is only available on PlayStation. So that means that there is definitely more than 100,000 units out there. Well, that's not necessarily true, because there could be several users on the same setup. But that means over 100,000 people have played one game in VR. And I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be one of those in the next... Maybe not tonight, but I'm picking it up today. I had this big adventure where I tried to get it yesterday. That fucked up. I'm getting it today, though. From what I've read everywhere, especially Reddit, this is the end-all, be-all virtual reality experience currently available. I do not
And
like...
is it supposed to be scary?
Oh, it's really fucking scary. Like,
You gonna be all right?
That's why I said I'm not planning to play it anytime soon. I will not play this by myself. I want someone in the room, just in
You
case.
did say at some point, though, yeah.
No, I will play this. Yeah. Like, Luis was playing it. I watched him play the majority of the game. I've seen a lot of gameplay. I know what to do. I know how it plays. There's not many jump scares, but there are. But what I've really heard
It's a
about
zombie
it...
game. Why wouldn't there be?
Not really. It's not really a zombie game. But
Technically, yeah.
technically,
But
no. No, research this one. This was like a hard reboot.
It gets more convoluted, doesn't it? Like,
It's not zombies at all.
I don't know what it is anymore.
It's not zombies. It has been zombie. Well, 6 was zombies, but it hasn't been zombies since 3. The Resident Evil stopped doing that. It became a virus. Like, it's no longer, oh, you were alive, then you died, now you're this. No, now it's like, oh, you're infected by this literal virus. I don't know. Like, it's like I said, 7's completely different though. It's a soft reboot on the franchise.
Fair enough.
But yeah, from what I've read, the reason Resident Evil 7 is so scary in VR and it's for the reasons that I would assume. It's not because like, oh, that's so fucking scary. Oh my god, my heart stopped. It's not the visual aspect. Like that has a part of it. It's the 3D audio design. How effective just like the wind is and the floorboards creaking, the doors opening, and someone walking behind you and shit like that. Like that is what's supposed to be really scary. So like I said, I'm picking it up today, probably about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not planning on playing it tonight at all. But I have a lot of VR stuff. Like currently, I think my count is like 30 titles or so. So I'm not. I have a lot of stuff to do, and I'm still trying to pace myself, even though I've been doing a lot more VR recently, just because I don't feel the sickness that I used to. So I am getting my $500 plus worth currently. But yeah, this in addition to Sony, they have a beta for their most recent PS4 firmware 4.5, which allows a lot of stuff, most notably like this thing called boost mode that overclocks the PS4 Pro's processor to allow games to look even better on your 4K TV. But the real big thing here, especially for VR, the 4.5 software also comes with a update for the PSVR itself, which allows 3D Blu-ray playback within PlayStation Virtual Reality. It also does like external hard drive support, which is like big for gamers. But this is something that like I was dreaming was possible. You can take your 3D Blu-ray, put it in your PS4, watch it in your headset. No glasses required. There is no.
So they finally did the firmware update for 3D then.
No,
because they couldn't do it for.
This is in beta. This is going to be made public in the next month. I'm going to anticipate the last Tuesday of this month, the 28th. That's the day it's going to go public. But yeah, you couldn't do 3D Blu-rays currently. Now you can do them, and you can do them in the headset. And I don't own any 3D Blu-rays, but I'm thinking about getting some. Lego Movie, Mad Max.
Get some good ones like Mad Max. Like Lego Movie is fine. Well, you don't own it, do you?
No, I don't own it at all. And
if you want to at some point, then yeah, you may as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
might as well.
How to Train Your Dragon. I'm gonna pimp that one out pretty hard.
See, my thing is, I know 3D Blu-rays are pricey. I don't want to pay more than $20 for one.
I'm just saying, that one has probably the best, because there's like a third-person overview, like just shot in that gives you such a terrific sense of vertigo that was so powerful in IMAX.
Uh-huh.
If a VR headset can like give you that would be amazing.
It does. That's the thing. Like part of the update too.
Like if it can really like just get like an ounce of that effect that I felt when I saw that in theaters, like that would be fucking insane.
Like I remember talking about it because I was like, oh yeah, I tried to watch a movie on my PlayStation VR and it looked like shit. It did. Okay, pixelated.
Yeah, because you can definitely see them.
Well, it's not a full 1080p. Well, it is 1080p display, but it's cut in half per eye. But yeah, you can see the pixels.
Are you able to like tweak with the sharpness settings on there, or is
you can
it's
now.
Pretty much set?
Part of the update also, from what people have said online that have access to it, the cinematic mode, which is what that called, it has just way better resolution for some reason. So I have
That's
reason.
Probably a problem is that things could have been over sharpened and tried to like use more of the resolution, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but I am excited. Like maybe I'll go to Redbox doesn't do 3D Blu-rays. Like I'm probably just gonna pick up a 3D Blu-ray for cheap. I saw the Lego Movie on eBay for like $10, the 3D version. So maybe get that. That'll probably be my first one, just because like.
Do you have video stores near you at all? Like, do those exist in Long Beach?
Yeah, there's actually one right by my work. I've gone in there a couple times. I don't know if they carry 3D. Content.
Yeah, because the ones by me, they do actually have like sections devoted to that, which is really cool.
That's cool, yeah. Because I mean, like I said, the 3D Blu-rays, they're fucking pricey, and I
know. Like I thought, hey, if I can rent some stuff in there, if I get my 3D TV here, like, or I have the capabilities of watching stuff in 3D with the red and blue glasses.
No, you don't want to do that.
No, I don't. Like, it's cool that I have that. Just if I want to use that, but no, that's not ideal.
It's like this. This is what's really interesting or real confusing. Because of VR, 3D is making a comeback. 3D gaming, like I said right here, 3D movies, just 3D content. Like 360 content, obviously, but 360 3D content. 3D is actually making a comeback, and Sony's pushing it right now on PS4. Why is it that 4K Blu-rays don't have 3D support? Like we've talked about this before. You want to get Mad Max? You can get it in 4K, which comes with the standard and the black and chrome. If you want the 3D,
there's very few. I think there's like
3D
2
Blu-ray.
4K 3D Blu-rays that exist, and there's 4K 3D TVs. So
yeah,
it's like it's out there, it's a thing, but they're not really pushing it. Like even some movies that come out on 3D, like Disney doesn't even bother putting
No.
a 3D edition of everything out.
when they
They
should.
just put a standard Blu-ray.
Like
In fact, they haven't even done 4K yet. They're gonna wait late because that's what they do.
this is what I would like to see happen. Standard Blu-ray dies. There's only two choices.
The
There's
DVD's still alive.
well,
so.
this is what I'm saying. I'm saying like standard Blu-ray dies. There's only two choices: 4K and 3D. That's it. If you want the regular movie, you got to buy it on the 4K Blu-ray. If you want it, because that that can play on a regular Blu-ray player. Wait, no, it can't. Take that back.
I mean, not it's. I'm sort of still hesitant on 4K just because, like, not everything is made for that resolution. A lot of stuff is still shot underneath that
Not
resolution.
anymore,
So to
though.
get everything that's like now it's finally going to get there, but to get everything that isn't even fit for it.
That's what I'm saying.
And hell, even films that are scanned, like even when they're scanned at that resolution, it's still an upconvert because not everything mathematically fits for it. Like stuff that's on 16 millimeter and then upconverted to 4K.
Everything big
It's like
going forward should only have either 3D or 4K. There's no reason to have standard Blu-ray.
for new stuff being made, yeah, but
Especially
I mean, to,
because-
upconvert everything.
No,
you
yeah,
know, that's
I'm not
where
saying
just
no,
kinda
no.
like,
I'm
eh,
not
but,
saying
yeah.
upconvert. I'm saying new releases for every movie this year that comes out on Blu-ray. There should be the 4K version and there should be the 3D version. Because when you buy the 3D version, it comes with the standard anyway. Just force people to do it.
Every movie.
Every movie. If it's
Even
not
for stuff that.
if it's not in 3D, do only 4K. Because
Would you want to see a 3D version of Moonlight?
that wasn't in 3D. That's what I'm saying.
That's
If
what.
it-
Yeah, no, you're saying every movie.
no, I'm
That's where
saying every
I'm
movie
thinking
that is
literally.
released in 3D,
There we go.
make a 3D
Okay.
Blu-ray. If it isn't released in 3D, 4K only. Because at this point, DVD shouldn't exist anymore.
Oh, they still do. A lot of people
they-
still watch them.
They shouldn't. It's been Blu-ray has existed for over a decade now. It's been like 12 years. You shouldn't have DVDs.
I mean, it's really, when you get down to it, it's all the same thing. It's just media storage on a disc. It's just some of them have higher resolution than others.
A
so,
lot higher resolution.
Yeah,
Early
I mean,
days
really, that's it.
DVDs are 480i.
Oh yeah, like
I
and,
have
mean,
some.
just the stuff that I do too. The stuff that's transferred to that, like believe it or not, and I still watch them, but DVDs still look good.
Sometimes.
Like no, I mean like now it's just at a point where just the way that we can compress them, it's inexcusable if they do not look good. Like literally, it can look about as good as seeing a movie projected in 2K at your multiplex because. Like sometimes just I'm going to be honest. Like movies look shitty at a multiplex just because they don't know how to project them right. But
In 3D, yeah.
yeah, I mean they can have like the same amount of softness and whatnot. And they can look pretty decent. And if movies on DVD now, they can be well compressed. That they'll look good at the very least. The early stuff that was just transferred over, like no, it wasn't exactly that great.
Well, jumping back to Sony, because I got to end the show soon. This past week, something real sad happened. Sony did a $1 billion write-down on Sony Pictures. That's how bad their cinematic year was. And so this kind of really buys or sells into the idea of, yeah, they might spin off Sony Pictures and Sony TV, just go back to PlayStation and making consumer electronics. But to kind of wave those fears goodbye, CEO Kaz Hirai, who, mind you, started out as the CEO of PlayStation, has come to LA. He's apparently going to spend lots of time on the transition from them finding chairman. And he jokingly said, like at the end of the fiscal year, at the beginning of the fiscal year, like the conference call, I'm gonna hang a not for sale sign on our water tower if I have to let people know. So he sounds real serious. He's going to get his own office on the studio or on the back lot. That way he has oversight. So who knows? It's like I said a couple of weeks ago. It's definitely all on Spider-Man. If Spider-Man and the Emoji Movie tank,
Oh, the emoji. I mean, Angry Birds did fairly well.
Angry Birds did
didn't it?
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Sony
like, based
Pictures
on the budget,
Animation.
They don't spend. They're like Warner's Animation. They don't
Yeah.
spend a shitload of
Well,
money.
the Lego Batman movie is a shitload
That,
of money.
no. Like the Lego movie is around 60 mil. I think Lego Batman is just marginally higher.
No,
than
I'm
that,
I'm
but
talking not the movie itself, advertisements. They have
okay,
Lego
but yeah,
Batman,
production. Of
the
course they're
movie
gonna pimp that out.
for
They
Lego
did the same
Dimensions.
thing.
They have
I'm
a whole
talking
new
about production budget.
a whole
That
new
stuff
Lego
doesn't cost
line,
that much to pimp
billboards,
out.
TV, Super Bowl. Like they've probably put $100 million into the advertising / like ancillary properties, the T-shirts, the hats, all of that shit. Which is on the scary side. But yeah, I wish nothing for the best for Sony, especially because I'm a fanboy, as most people know. But it's funny, you know, the CEO of Sony Pictures that's in the process of leaving, Linton, he's said to own 3 million shares of Snap Inc., which is important because, you know, he's now a chairman there. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's important is because they filed their intention to make an initial public offering. So it is going to go public. Snap stock is going to be available. I think SNAP is going to be their stock ticker. And part of that in terms of trying to get investors is that they're trying to mature. One of the big ways is Planet Earth 2, which is starting real soon in the US on BBC. It's going to actually debut on Snapchat. It's going to have 6 episodes in the app in the coming weeks. I'll probably tune in just to see what that looks like in a vertical landscape. I'm sure it's going to look really pretty. And that's kind of like the most brilliant marketing I've seen there. Up to now, it's been like talk show stuff, sports, reality TV, or maybe like little scripted ads like for Ouija or whatever. But this is literally airing the content on a platform that people access anyway. So as a way of not only having you ingest it, but also to tease you for the real thing, like on your fancy TV. So I think this is brilliant, in addition to them saying that they're trying to make wider availability for their spectacles. I don't know if they're going to get a lot of people investing in the company. But this could be the sign that they have figured out how to make up a profit, because up to date they are in the red every year. Like they do not make money, and like with their competitors growing with Instagram, I've seen so many people that I personally follow or I'm friends with on Snapchat jump ship to Instagram. That I don't know how much longer Snapchat can last, but them creating more original content or like teaming up with people for original content like this, I think it's just the smartest thing. Like I said, I'm going to tune into this. I'm curious to see what Planet Earth 2 looks like on my phone. Because, you know, my phone screen is marginally better than my TV screen. So, you know.
If you say so. That doesn't appeal to me personally, a vertical version of
I'm not saying
Earth, but
doing it vertical, but literally, like, my phone display.
No, but that is what it is.
Better.
No, and I get that. No, I know you have a nice phone.
Yeah. This is the final news item, and it's the big one. It could have been on the top of the show, but it's so much to even talk about before we actually converse about it. So, you know, Edward Snowden, he kind of unleashed a lot of stuff about the telecom industry. We're being tapped all the time. Verizon, most notably, was using metadata to tell everyone about us. It gets scarier than that. It gets scarier than the Yahoo email hack. It gets scary, so scary. If you own a Vizio TV, they have been tracking everything you've ever watched since 2014. Period. If you have a Vizio TV that was manufactured in the last 3 to 4 years, they have been gathering data from you against your knowledge. This is something that was reported.
These are just the ones that are connected to the internet, right?
No.
Every single one?
It was every smart TV released since 2013, and even some of the older ones were patched to support it. So this was without any kind of clause. They didn't let their users know this. It was a secret. They've gathered information live on what movies, shows, etc. you're watching, not just over the internet via apps like Netflix and YouTube, but via your cable provider, satellite, and even DVD somehow. And they were flipping this information, this data, to advertisers. So apparently they didn't disclose the names of the users, but the advertisers got your age, your income, your marital status, your IP address, how much you watch TV, at what hours, for how long, literally everything without disclosure. The good news is, though, you know, I read about this earlier today. The FTC caught them, probably the FCC also, and New Jersey courts have hit them with a huge fine. The now Russian-owned company is going to have to pay $2.2 million and have to also delete all the information they gathered before March, I think it's 7th of 2016, because that's when they made it known to their users. So yeah, this is pretty scary. I'm happy I don't have a
Russia's
Vizio.
spying on us, man.
Well, I think this happened before Russia bought them. But yeah, Russia was spying on us in a certain extent.
Yeah, in a way.
This is just scary. It's one thing if you sign up for something like this. It makes sense. Like, advertisements suck, but watching ads for things that you actually enjoy, not so bad. Whatever. So that could have been happening to you. But the fact that they were basically peering into your living room or your bedroom or any room in
Yeah.
your house for that matter against your consent, against your knowledge, that's literally spying. That is Big Brother.
Yep.
Like, if you have one of the Nielsen boxes in your house, they don't even know the kind of information that they were getting here.
Seriously, like
You have to
yeah.
report that shit to Nielsen. This was done off the cuff, live, not delayed, live. So who's to say how much of your internet bandwidth they were even stealing to do that kind of shit in the first place? It's scary. It's scary to think about.
Mm-hmm.
The good
Well,
news.
So much for buying a fucking Vizio TV.
The good news about this item, though, is not necessarily what it did, but what might happen because of what was just released. The new chairman of the FCC, who, mind you, is brown skin and Trump did nominate, is trying to implement something called ATSC 3.0, which would be the new standard in how broadcasting works. Have you ever heard of it? I hadn't either before this week. What it comes down to is, remember in 2009 when digital was replaced analog and everyone had to get a digital TV tuner and it changed the way video signals work? That was ATSC 1.0. So this would be the next implementation. This is something that's already being like beta tested in South Korea. And if 3.0 goes live, this would allow broadcasting in 4K, HDR, FHR, and even 3D. And on top of that, you would also normalize content and allow broadcasting not be available just on your TV via digital, but also your cell phone and possibly your computer. And so this would circumvent net neutrality and also allow consumers to not be reliant on data, not be reliant on the internet, and actually access stuff live on the go anywhere, because that's what the broadcasting is supposed to be for anyway. So yeah, if Vizio being bad and scary meant something good is going to come from it, I'm really excited. I can't wait for ATSC 3.0.
Yeah, now we can connect a bunch of devices and we can be spied on multiple of them.
Maybe, but I'm more...
In the long run, that's probably something that could happen.
Broadcasting in 4K, HDR, high frame rate. You know what that would mean?
Being spied on without your
Fuck
consent.
up. You know what that would mean for sports? None of those are available for the sports. Next year, the Super Bowl could be in 4K HDR, high frame rate, and 3D. It was already in VR this year. But it was like highlights delayed. But this time...
no, like they definitely used a virtual camera to like show stuff around. It was probably a VR camera, I'm sure.
The final ad, I think, of the Super Bowl was that Hyundai thing where it showed like the soldiers who were stationed in Syria, I think it was, and how like they got to go into like these special pods and watch the game with their family behind them. That was using the Nokia Ozo camera. So yeah, they had several VR things going on at the Super Bowl. Really exciting. I can't wait for the next one just to see in terms of what is possible from a technical standpoint. But yeah, FCC, do it. Fucking slap Vizio really hard. Say this is a reason you need ATSC 3.0, that this wouldn't be possible with the standards that you're trying to implement. Lie to anyone in Congress. I don't care. Give me my 4K. Give me a reason to buy one of the sets. I'm excited. That's
exactly how does this fix though what Vizio did? Like I understand that it gives you it'll fix the technical specs, but exactly how does it stop that?
I didn't say it stopped it. I said it could possibly
how's
stop
this fixing that?
I don't know, but I'm saying lie to Congress. Say that's what it will do, because they're stupid enough to believe you. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just bringing up a serious issue, and now you're just talking about how you want technical specs to go up. It's like,
well, I am worried about the Vizio thing. I'm not
yeah.
truly worried because I don't have a Vizio set.
I'm not worried, but well, I'm not worried about that either. But then in the long run, of course.
So they already got fined for this. They already got slapped. They stopped doing it. Like, it was scary. Now it's less so. But
who else do you think? They might not even be the only ones doing it, for all we know.
No, they're probably not. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone's doing this to a certain extent. Especially if your TV has, if you have an Apple TV or like a Google TV, like.
Hell, even cell phones, you know.
Well, especially cell phones. Like, if you're on Instagram, in the same way that if you're on the web, especially Facebook, and you get those ads from Amazon that are 100% targeted at you, I get ads on Instagram where it knows I have a Sony phone, and I don't know how the fuck that's possible, and it scares me. And So that's the same thing. It's cookies. Like, they know. They always
Mm-hmm.
know. They are always tracking you, even if you don't think they are. But with if you create higher standards, which allow for, not just in terms of, oh yeah, 4K is awesome, but the jump from analog to digital was something that a lot of people were angry about. It changed the way that everything has worked since then. And this would just be another step and another step. And the more complicated things get and the more technical they become, the harder it is to probably track people, just because there's more oversight. There's more things going on at once. Or at least that's my viewpoint. That's my angle.
There's so much that is being collected. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like you're not literally being spied on by somebody, but that information is being collected that they can go to it if they choose to.
Or maybe both. I'm not sure.
I mean, that'd be fucked up if someone is like actually watching you every night sleep. I doubt
It's
that.
possible. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 cameras pointing at me right now in my bedroom alone. I got 3 connected to PlayStations. I have 1 on my phone. I got 1 on my computer. Since I'm connected to the internet on 3 of those devices currently, 2 aren't even plugged in. Yeah, someone could be viewing me currently. I'm not necessarily scared because whatever, I'm in my fucking PJs about to take a shower. But yeah, what if I was naked? I wouldn't really care about that either. But there is a sense of uncertainty there. There is something scary about everything being connected to the internet. Like, the Internet of Things isn't inherently a good idea. It's great
Yeah.
in the case of an emergency. Like, say you have like a Nest thermometer or something, or like a nanny cam, and your house caught on fire. In the future, you won't need a smoke alarm. The camera's gonna know what a fucking fire looks like, and it will report to the fire department before you could possibly even get through the operator. Like, there's beauty to it in the way that the internet can simplify our lives, but at the same time, when you create this barrier in terms of not just what's around us, but what we go to be around, notably social media, when you no longer actually talk about these things face to face or ear to ear or whatever you want to say, the conversation's not even there anymore. You're yelling at something, and people are either yelling at or with you below you in smaller font. Like, it's kind of sad, and I don't know. I think that's why I'm so gung-ho on VR, because the rules haven't been set yet. Anything can happen. Every day something new can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so complex and so new that it's impossible to really, as far as I'm concerned, to fuck with that, to take advantage of someone. Like, you as a user aren't even that versed in it. How are you going to be able to take advantage of another one? And I think VR might take off just because people no longer like the world around us. Like, not because they want to escape. Like, my thing about virtual reality so far is I don't like the escapism. It's not like watching a movie. Like, it's pure escapism. I'm not a fan of that. But as the world becomes more and more toxic and more nasty, virtual reality can offer a realm that is outside of that. That is its own thing. Like, it's literally a virtual reality. And I mean, it's just going to be like the internet, where it's also negative and positive in its own ways. But it could be like a fresh start for society. And that's what I'm excited about. That's why I report about virtual reality. That's why I tell some people
I don't
about
know if
it.
I'm content with that, though. Like,
It's gonna happen.
That seems like giving up on society. Which
A lot of people already have.
I'm not cool with that.
I'm not cool with it either, but a lot of people
I'm
have.
pretty cynical, but I can't, fully give up on that.
Well, that's a
That's just
down
me,
note
yeah.
for the end of the show. I hope it's been a good 2 hours. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard. We're all over the internet. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on literally almost everything. Probably Instagram in the coming weeks. I said that last week, but hey, fuck it. I barely use Instagram personally as it is. If you liked what you heard, tweet at us, like us, whatever. Download the episode. Do anything. Just let us know what you like, what you didn't like, what worked for you, what didn't. If you hate us because I like Trump, tell us that. Fucking anything. Tell me anything. But I hope it's been a pleasure. I hope it's been a good one, and I hope you're with us next time.
Have a week.